Hello! Here I am. 3 days in a row? I think this is actually the first time in a while I've successfully been here 3 days in a row. Oh man, but getting back into it, you know. So I'm starting a little bit late today. I was up at like a normal good time, and I got work done on my game. But then I was like, I don't know, still like a few hours before I want to eat anything. Like, I'm not gonna start stream before I eat dinner. So I'll take an hour nap. An hour nap will be fine. So I set an alarm on my phone, head to bed, fall asleep basically instantly because I didn't get the best night's sleep. And alarm just doesn't go off, so yeah. Hopefully that doesn't mess up my sleep schedule again. I'm gonna try and just wake up at a normal time tomorrow, no matter how much sleep I get. Because I have been pretty good with the sleeping. But dude, I hate my fucking... I mean, it's just the default, like, base iOS alarm has always had this problem for me. Like, even since when I was, like, still going to middle school. It's, like, the first time I noticed the problem. Sometimes you'll set an alarm, and it's, like, a brand new alarm that you just set up. And it just doesn't go off the first time for whatever reason. I don't know if it's, like... if there's something I can do to fix that. I've had the same phone for, like, ages. It's not the same one I had since going to middle school, but both of them have had the problem. So I think it's just, like, an iOS issue that has never been fixed. It's not like an AM/PM issue. I set it to the right one of those. It's just the first time I make an alarm. There's, like, a 20% chance it's just not gonna go off the first time for whatever reason. But yeah, it happens, so... That's why normally, like, my strategy for that, because it doesn't happen when you change the time on an alarm, it only happens when you make a brand new alarm. So, like, it's usually not an issue for me waking up in the mornings, because I just keep the same alarm that I've probably set up, like, years ago. I just keep that same alarm, and if I need to wake up at a different time, I'll just, like, edit it so that the time is different. But, yeah, because I didn't want to mess with my normal, like, wake-up alarm. I made a new one just for the nap, thinking it would be fine, and it, apparently wasn't. Dude, why am I dying uncontrollably here? I'm supposed to be finishing this. My goal is to, like, I seriously shouldn't have any problems finishing this within an hour. I, like, very consistently made it, like, pretty far yesterday when I was streaming this. So I would be a little bit upset with myself if I couldn't finish this within the hour. The only thing that scares me right now is the unknown that's at the end of it. Because, like, that one screen, like, I guess I was in a safe spot, so I really didn't need to, like, I actively put myself in a dangerous position when I didn't fully understand what I was supposed to do in the screen. I should have waited in the safe spot for longer until I was, like, more confident about what I was gonna do. Because I just, like, hesitated in a danger zone, trying to figure out, like, what I wanted to do for the last jump I made. And surprise, surprise, I didn't make it. But if I get back there, like, it shouldn't be too hard. I would be really surprised if they actually made, like, the final, like, last few screens that you can't practice very, very difficult. Because, like, I don't know. Not only is it at the very end of this, so you have to go through an entire, like 30-something screens before you get there. 30 might actually be a little bit low. It's like 20-something screens, but on the higher end of the 20s. You have to go through, like, a lot of screens without dying, just to even see, like, what's going on in that area. My fingies aren't quite warmed up. There any warm-up techniques for platformers? Like, I know a lot of people for first-person shooters do aim trainers before streaming and stuff. Where's the platforming aim trainer? is it just... well, I was gonna say, is it just, like, playing Melee? Because that's probably one of the most, like, finger-intensive games you could play. But, doesn't really translate. I don't know many people who play, Melee on keyboard. It'd be kind of interesting, though. Because, like, I don't know, I love the GameCube controller, don't get me wrong. It's, like, probably just straight up the best controller that's ever been made. There's so many good things about it that have never been replicated in a controller again. I go back and forth on whether I like the implementation of the face buttons. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's good that the controller has, like, a very obvious default interact button and a very obvious, like, back out button. That being the massive green A button and little bitty red B button, with, like, the X and Y buttons being any sort of, like, I don't know, utility buttons, I guess. Like, I think I land on actually liking that design. But I also, I don't know, I'm not super against the modern face button design of just everything being set up so that, like, I don't know, I think the modern way, where, like, every face button is the exact same size, and they're just, like, positioned differently, is a little bit more friendly for, like, people who want to remap the controls, because, I don't know, if for whatever reason it's more comfortable for you to press buttons in a certain layout than it is for other button layouts. It would be kind of weird to have your main interact button be like the X or Y button on a GameCube controller. But I don't know. I think I'm just, like, neutral on it. But it was never really a problem for GameCube because, like, rebindable controls were not a thing. But I don't know, there is some validity to that. Like, I know in Japan, it's like the standard is that at least I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the standard, and you can tell with, like, Nintendo games, because all Nintendo games, the default interact button is the right face button, and the back button is usually the lower face button, whereas in the West, it's, like, the exact opposite. Usually the interact button is the bottom face button, and going back is the right face button. So it's always, like, it used to be very, very weird to me. But I'm kind of used to it now, I guess. But, I don't know. It's strange, I guess. The face buttons aside, though, like, one of my favorite things about the GameCube controller... Well, there's so many. Like, controller shape is great. I mean, some people will have different opinions on that. I think it's a little bit weird. Like, if I remember, the default GameCube controller only has one, like, shoulder button. Not trigger, but, like, shoulder button, the Z button. I think there's only one, and it's on the right side. That being asymmetrical is a little strange, but I mean, it's not like it would be that hard to introduce a left shoulder button. In fact, I think the GameCube controllers that Nintendo made for the Switch do have, like, a ZL and a ZR. Oops. But anyways, by far my favorite thing the GameCube controller has is the trigger. And I know it's a weird thing to get excited about, but I love the clickiness of it. Like, the slow pressure on, like, I don't know, it's, like, okay, so to be fair, I've never actually used a DualSense controller, which is, like, I don't know, one of its main features is, like, the adaptive triggers, where they can change the firmness of it required to actually, like, hold down the trigger. Like, conceptually, that's good, I guess. But, I don't know, I always thought that was kind of weird, too, when I heard about that first. I was like, if it's not very clearly indicated that your trigger is going to be harder to press sometimes, I feel like, more often than not, like, if I'm playing a game and all of a sudden it's making my trigger harder to press, I'm just gonna, like, really fucking jam down as hard as I can. And depending on the implementation of that, it might damage the controller, but who knows. Point being, I don't really think that that makes a good feeling trigger. Like, it just being, I don't know, depending on what the game developers do with it, it could be somewhat arbitrary what determines, like, I guess the sensitivity. That's not really the right word. Like, I don't know, firmness is really the best word I can think of for the trigger being pressed down. Yo, what's up, Sabotage? Good to see you back. You know, last time you checked in with Enda's Nigh, I think it was just the first stream I did of it. I have done a few streams of this. I'm getting closer. I mean, it might not look like I'm getting closer in the first 10 minutes of this, but I have had a few, like quite a few attempts that made it to the 4th cartridge yesterday, and one of those actually made it to the 5th cartridge content. So it's not going bad. Going pretty well so far. But back to talking about GameCube controllers, everyone's favorite topic. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that the DualSense, I guess it's, like, interesting what they're trying to do with it. Like, it is a different level of feedback that could be used interestingly, but, like, no trigger has felt as good to press as a GameCube controller's triggers. The smooth slide into that click at the end, where it actually activates as a button. And games could use that, like, in interesting ways. Like, Sunshine is one of the most notable that actually took full advantage of that feature from the controller. There's probably other GameCube controllers that either I didn't play or I'm not remembering took advantage of that. But the trigger not only has, like, the analog range from, like, 0 to 1, but that click at the end is actually, like, as far as the controller interprets that information, the click at the end is actually a separate button. That when you're making a game, you could do something interesting with that. And like I said, the most notable one, to me at least, is Sunshine, where when you, like, really quickly click that in, while you're using your flood gun, it, like, does that fucking shotgun explosion of water. And that's actually, like, one of the most useful tools, is being able to click that really fast to get that shotgun effect repeatedly. So, I don't know. Great triggers. Great shape. I love analog notches. I don't know why controllers stopped doing analog notches. Like, that was such a good design. Like, it just being able to have, like, a better understanding of what angle you're holding your controller. Like, admittedly, for some games, it's true that it gives you an advantage, but, like, if everyone is on the same level and using the same kind of controller, like, if analog notches were still the standard in controllers, it's not like anyone would have some sort of unfair advantage that they could hold specific angles easier. But, yeah, I don't know. I miss analog notches. It's probably my second biggest thing. But that's not really GameCube controller specific. If anything, you could give ownership to that to N64. Probably the most notorious. I don't know. Is it the most notorious? I feel like when I think of notches in analog sticks, I most commonly think of N64, but usually because, like, I think it's cool that there happens to be, like, a very specific bug with, you know, Ocarina of Time, and I think Majora's Mask has the same Hess angle, but I think it's cool that, there happened to be, like, a specific angle that you can hold your analog stick in, like, slightly away from neutral, and also, I think, I mean, I'm not super educated on how Hesses work, but I think there's, like, different angles that work with a Hess, and if I'm wrong and it's only one angle, then my bad. But, oh, I should have kept that one. If I jumped over the fish, he would have just left. I don't know why I'm so bad at wrangling these fish specifically. Sorry, I'm going through puberty. Please forgive me. This is a bad situation. Yeah, I shouldn't have engaged. Should not have engaged there, but it worked out. Yeah, assuming my understanding of the Hess is at least somewhat correct, I've always at least thought of it as cool that, like, you have to go and like in between the notches for a successful Hess, which is like kind of an above technical. I mean, it was never like designed as such. Like, it's not like the programmers were like, ah, well, we need to make this Hess thing difficult, so we can't have it lie directly on one of the notches. Not that the notches would even impact it though, because you have to hold like not a full angle and not neutral. You've only ever played with the PlayStation and Xbox controllers? Really? Really? That's surprising. Like, even, like, it's not like I was of the age to play on a Super Nintendo, but we did have a Super Nintendo, and that's one of the first consoles I ever played. So, like, despite not being born in the era, I still have a lot of nostalgia for the Super Nintendo, and, like, Link to the Past specifically, just because, like, yes, even though when I was, like, of prime age to play video games, I should have grown up on, like, a PlayStation 2. My first memories of playing video games are on the Super Nintendo. Never an NES, though, thankfully. Because, like, honestly, if I grew up with an NES at that age, I would probably be done with video games forever. It's like, I don't know, NES has the same problem as, like, PlayStation 1, in my opinion. It's like the beginning of an era, right? Like, the beginning of a home entertainment console. Where, like, it's not, the hardware is not ready for video games, basically. It's the exact same situation with, like, the original Xbox and PlayStation 1. It's like, I don't know, no one really knew what they were doing. Original Xbox is slightly better, because at least when that was made, it was common knowledge to have 2 analog sticks, whereas when the PlayStation 1 came out, it was a 1 analog Marty. Oops. You forgot you played with Wiimotes? Yeah, the Wii was something else. I mean, motion controls are an entirely different can of worms. I don't think motion controls, even VR, like, I've played VR games that have been fun, but it's not quite there. I mean, the biggest issue with VR for me, like, I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm not gonna be into VR until it's like Sword Art Online, which is just, come on. Like, it's kind of an unreasonable expectation. Like, you know, maybe one day we'll get there, but it's gonna be a few hundred years at least. Maybe not a few hundred, but at least like 100, you know? Give them some time. Like, we don't even really fucking know how the brain works, so being able to program into the brain directly, yeah, I would, you know, I'm taking it back. I'm going back to a few hundred years. Nice. I think the biggest issue with VR right now is just the amount of wires, and, like, I think the Quest 2... I don't know a ton about the Quest 2, other than the fact that, like, a lot of parents came into our GameStop asking if we had the Quest 2, and I was like, nope, sorry, fortunately not. The things I know about the Quest 2 are that I think you can play, like, certain games wirelessly, which seems, like, by far the best feature to be added to VR since its creation. But also, additionally, I think the Quest 2 has, like, one of the best displays out of any VRs. But, like, the fact that you can play some games wirelessly, like, if you could play Beat Saber wirelessly, that's, like, genuinely, potentially, something that might make me buy it. Whereas, like, previously, I don't know. I don't really have the space for VR. That's, like, one of the other big downsides right now, is that it does require, like, a lot of empty space to actually use. Unless you want to be, like, smacking around your furniture at all times, cracking your controllers because you punched a wall with them. But, yeah, man, it's just the wires. Like, that's the one thing that turns me off of VR is, like, I've played it at a few friends' houses. Well, I guess relatives' houses. It's weird to think of them as relatives, but I guess it would be, one of them is my step-brother-in-law. As a VR setup at his place. And it's fun. But I don't know. I only find it fun for short bursts, because, like, it's mainly gimmicky, which is kind of like the downside of motion controls as a whole. Well, I don't know. Some people don't see it as a downside, though. Like, I know Super Bunny Hop on YouTube, is like one of the biggest advocators of gimmicky control schemes. Like, he eats that kind of shit up. Which is fair, you know, if it's your kind of thing and you enjoy playing in that environment. There's a lot of interesting games coming out for VR nowadays, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to, like, turn around in a circle and get tangled. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically, I don't know. A lot of games, to be fair, that don't really work super well in VR, it's like a hard, that was unnecessarily risky. It's a hard balance to toe, but like a lot of game developers, because like VR is an incredibly niche market. So like there are a lot of VR games that are also made so that they work with like regular PC, like VR Chat is a notable one, because I played that on PC when it's technically a VR game. I mean, I played it on PC without VR. And there's one I just saw recently that, like, jumped out at me as, like, a super VR-forward game. But you can still get it. It's an art game. I watched Ryan Gary, Northern Laterno, playing on his stream. I think Jerma also did a stream of it. I don't think it's out yet, but there's, like, press copies that were given to people. I should probably know it, but it's... If you just look on Steam and type in art, you'll maybe find it? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it jumps up in the top sellers when it's released day one, due to the amount of attention it's gotten from streamers. But it's also kind of a niche game, so I don't know. But games like those, I don't know, when you try and toe the line, like, that would definitely be a fun experience in VR, for sure. But it kind of, you lose a bit of it, right? Like, you're sacrificing a little bit by playing the VR game not on VR. And vice versa, there are a lot of games that are clearly made, first and foremost, for, like, either console or PC players, but then they just kind of throw on a VR mode to it, and it's not really... It doesn't really work all the time. The most vague search term ever, art. It'll work, I promise. Trust me, it'll work. But I don't know, like, No Man's Sky is one of those, and like a lot of people praise the No Man's Sky VR, because I guess, like, I don't know. I mean, it's more just an immersive way of looking at the game. Like, I don't think there's motion controls in the game. I think it's just, like, you can look in the perspective of VR, but you still have to use a controller, or, like, mouse and keyboard. I might be wrong on that. Maybe they actually have added, like, touch controls, but that seems like so much development time to spend on that I would be surprised if they did. Okay, that's one of the scary screens. Actually getting deep in this, so I kind of wanna focus a little bit. Ever so slightly. Okay, wait. I can wait here until I'm confident. That's the scary jump. And I've made it. Alright. I have, on record, fucked up this screen way more times than I'd like to admit, though. I don't know why I find that difficult sometimes. Like, I think I'm just jumping too early, because I'm afraid. Ah! Okay. Now, what the fuck do I do here? Like... I feel like I'm losing my mind, but isn't that jump really hard? Like, that last jump, now that I'm actually getting, like, a lot of free time to pay attention to it, that last jump, well, not the last jump, the second to last jump, where you have to do that drop and hang on to that ledge, like, that does not look like an easy jump. To put that so far into this and also not give you any chance at practicing it is so brutal. I don't know how I want to approach it. Like, I think I just need to do, like, a jump and hold left. I'm just going to... Because, like, looking at that angle, it looks like I have to hold left as much as possible. I'm just going to hold against the wall, like, hold left against the wall while I'm falling, and if I don't make it because I, like, force myself into the spike, then I just lose. I believe you can hold against the wall and it works? Oh, let's fucking go, dude. Let's go. That was my plan anyway, so I don't even feel bad about looking at chat to get the answer. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have jumped, I guess. So fucking brutal, dude. Like, why put that jump so far in? It's not even, like, the last screen. It's, like, the first screen of who knows how many. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably the smallest amount of screens. So maybe, like, 5 or 4 screens. Maybe 6, I don't know. I would be surprised if it was, like, 7 or above. Because to go so far in and have an additional 7 screens with no practice is... yikes. I mean, it's already kind of yikes. That is, like, literally the hardest jump that is in this entire thing thus far. Because, like, it's just not a jump that is, like, even in the regular game. Like, playing the regular game, you do not see a jump that's that obscure as to how you're supposed to handle it. It's, I don't know about that jump. Like, I haven't ever gotten into, like, balance in Endless Nigh, because, like, in general, like, the game isn't very punishing for the most part. Like, you just die on a screen and you reset at the start of the screen. But in doing something like this, I've already talked about how I don't really like endurance challenges, and I think that, like, it's kind of... I don't know, I don't want to say lazy, but it is, like, a lazy way of making something harder, is by introducing a lot of stuff you've already done, but making you do it all in a row without dying. Like, that is the simplest, laziest form to make something difficult. Because, like, I don't know, if I got the chance to practice that jump, especially because it seemingly is an easy solution, like just hold left, like, I would have no issue with that screen at all. But the fact that I have to go through, like, 20-some-odd screens of, like, not, like, super difficult, but, you know, it's like 20 screens without making a single mistake, just to get to try that screen a single time, it's a little upsetting. More so than I thought it would be. You looked up and watched a guy do the last screens because you were out of the ability to care when you found some of the jumps that you thought he did wrong? Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just a weird decision. Like, even in the glitch carts, like, the glitch carts are by far the most difficult carts in the game. Well, I don't know. Depends on how you define difficulty, I guess. Like, I would say that the glitch carts are harder, but this cart is harder to complete, just because it's an endurance challenge. That doesn't mean that any given part of it is harder than the glitch carts, because I think that most of the glitch cart screens are harder than any one of these screens. The fish ones being the outlier, because the fish are just horrible. But, yeah, like, I don't know, man. Even still, I think that one jump in that screen, that final screen that I've seen with the ghosts on it, that one jump just seems like a mistake. Like, that's literally the first time playing the game that you see a jump like that is so strangely demanding. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's basically how I put it. I just don't like giving it the credit of saying it's difficult, because I think it's done in such a cheap way that, but yeah, I do agree that it is, like, it's harder, but not fun. But hopefully there aren't too many other jumps like that one. I mean, you scare me a little bit because you mentioned, like, multiple jumps that you didn't agree with in the final few screens. So, hopefully none are quite as bad as that one. Because that drop, it just seems so specific, the inputs you have to do for. Yeah, exactly. Glitch carts are definitely more demanding at, like, any given moment. This cart is basically only demanding of your patience, which I have plenty of patience, but usually I just, like, I don't know. Like, I have the patience required to complete it, I just usually don't have the drive to. Like, I'm like, I know what it's going to be like. It's just going to take a while before I finish it, but, you know, it is inevitable. Like, that's the problem. Like, the biggest problem I have with endurance challenges is, like, it's just inevitable whether you will win. It just takes, like, enough practice to get consistent with everything. And there's some draw to that in certain circumstances. Like, you could say that, like, certain aspects of, like, the Souls games, like Demon Souls particular, is an endurance challenge, because Demon Souls has some of the most punishing runbacks from, like, I forget what they call it. Do they just call it a bonfire? Demon Souls has some of the most punishing runbacks from bonfire to boss fight. And, like, none of the runback is really particularly difficult. And in fact, most of the time, you can literally just run back and avoid every enemy. But it's just like, how much time do you really want to devote to running back until you actually learn the boss fight? And that's why a lot of people drop Souls games, is because, like, it is, like, by design, a very frustrating part of it, but I don't think that Souls ever takes it too far. You don't know how long I've been doing this, but the 15 hours it took you definitely pushed your patience. I mean, it's all streamed. I think I've only been doing it for, like, I don't know, I had, like, 1 4-hour stream, maybe 2 4-hour streams, and then I did, like, an hour or so yesterday, so I think I'm at maybe 9 hours now. But it's never, I don't know. The only parts that I've been frustrated at were the fish, just because I think the fish AI is, like, particularly frustrating, since even though you do have full control over it, there are circumstances that happen and you're kind of like, well, how the fuck could I have predicted the fish would act that way? I've gotten better at controlling the fish, but still, there are moments where, like, the fish will just jump out of the water and completely block my passage, and I'm like, alright. Thanks. Thank you. I guess I will choose to reset them. Though I've learned if the fish blocks your path in that first room, you just wait, like, 10 minutes, and eventually, due to seemingly random chance, the fish will fall. Eventually. But I don't know. I've never been frustrated with the design of a screen yet, up until, like, my slight frustration with the jump in the final level I've seen. I just think it's just a weird choice. But I can definitely handle endurance challenges. I mean, the Souls thing, it's like, especially because in Souls, like, Souls gives you so many different options for, like, quote-unquote cheesing your way through things. Like, yeah, running past enemies is viable in most situations. The exception being Dark Souls 2, which, like, really tried to get rid of that by letting enemies hit you while you're going through a fog wall and opening doors and stuff. But also, Dark Souls 2 is just, like, a shit game, so. I'm still using the cool strat to get rid of one of the fish? No. Whenever that happens, it's pure random chance, man. The second room, if I get rid of one of the fish, it is pure luck. I'm not, like, trying to force it. It probably would be helpful if I did start forcing that, because that's definitely the hardest screen of the fish screens. But no, I've not gotten to the point where I'm forcing it. I think I understand how you could force it, though. Like, I would imagine it's pretty easy to just, like, hover around the entrance to that room and get it to jump towards you. Nice. You just have to hold right, no jump for the first fish. Just straight upon entering the screen? Interesting. I'll give it a shot. I mean, first I'll, like, dip my toes into the room to see if it looks like it'll work. But once I'm confident, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I don't know. Dark Souls 2, Nicholas... Nicholas has been a little bit upset with my hate of Dark Souls 2 because he seems to be enjoying the game. I'm not sure if he finished, though. I haven't checked up on his Souls playthrough, but I know he's been a lot busier with work, so maybe he kind of realized he didn't have the time to grind Dark Souls 2 as soon as he had a real job. Which is fair. I mean, that's, like, a totally fair reason for a lot of people just, like, not having the patience for certain games, is like, if you only have so much time to play a game, whoops, living, if you only have so much time that you get to play games, it definitely makes sense to have less patience with the games. Like, I can understand not having the patience for something like Dark Souls if you only get, like, 3 hours a week to play a game and your entire experience with it was just dying on the run back to a boss over and over again. I would not say... I mean, there are, like, many glaring issues with Dark Souls 2, and the thing is, when it first came out, I loved it. Agility, well, I don't know, it's not agility that's the really bad one. It's, there's, like, some other stat. I don't think it's agility. It's, like, it's got a weird name to it that increases your iframes. But I don't remember the name of it. Who knows? Who knows? I was trying to dig deep in the memory mines, but it's gone. That stat does truly suck. It just, like, the whole point of the stat is to increase your animation speed and give you more iframes. Like, you drink Estises faster. You have, like, when you, like, get the stat to the soft cap, which is, like, 50 or something, you actually have iframes for, like, the entire duration of your roll animation. It's just stupid. Just bad design on that. And it makes, like, your base roll feel horrible. Because your base roll has, like, such a small amount of iframes that, like... Oh, another thing it does is increase the parry window, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that one. But I think it also increases parry window. It does too many good things. But there's always stats that are, I mean, not super balanced. If Souls is anything, it's unbalanced. And it doesn't really need to be. There are always strategies that, like, are so much far and beyond superior to anything else you could try doing. Agility is the actual stat, but ADP, yeah, there you go, adaptability. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. So you level up adaptability and it gives you agility. Yeah, that's dumb. I mean, I get why they introduced it, I guess? Because, like, I don't know. No, oh no. The more, I mean, I can see the reasoning behind, like, a dev team being like, well, rolls are a little bit overpowered, so maybe we should nerf them unless you invest in it, but it just means that, like, since that is, like, your main form of avoiding damage in the Souls game, unless, like, Dark Souls 2 actually really pushed for shields, though, which is, like, the most boring way to play the game is using a shield. So, I don't know, I get their reasoning for the stat, but it just made it, like, the only way to play. It's too important to be unclear. That's also fair. I just, like, go under the assumption that everyone uses, like, wikis and stuff when they play Souls games, but that's not necessarily true. And, yeah, is a pretty bad thing to do by design that, like, the stat really has no indication of what it's doing. I think, like, I don't know. Like, I know there is a way that you can examine stats and what they do, but I can't, off the top of my head, tell you if the in-game description of agility is actually worth 2 cents. Because knowing Souls games, it probably does try to be arbitrarily cryptic about what it actually does for your character. I don't know. That's like a whole different issue, is like information that the player is given. It's like a lot of games kind of fail on that, but a lot of games more recently, and I talk about that a lot, is that games more recently are getting so much better at the information they give the player. Like, game designers and developers have just gotten better at knowing, like, how much information should be given and when it's appropriate. Because, like, you'll see a lot of older games that are, like, heralded for the amount of information they give the player, but, like, looking at that from someone who hasn't spent hundreds of hours playing said game, it's just a complete fucking wreck. Like, just because the games give you all the information you need doesn't mean it's giving it to you in a particularly helpful way. In fact, I think, like, a lot of the, like, map games, as they're commonly referred to, kind of do a pretty shit-poor job of the way that they show players information. Like, Crusader Kings, Europa. Like, I know people who love the games, and, you know, fair enough. Like, if you like that kind of gameplay, I'm sure it can be very fun. But there is definitely something to be said about the density and the way that the information is given to the player is probably not the best. Path of Exile has a huge problem with it too, and like Path of Exile, they're trying to get better, and they know that the way they introduce players to the game is really bad, but like it's kind of like a huge joke in the community is like having people who haven't played the game before open up the passive skill tree. And just, like, you either have one of two emotions. You're either like, holy shit, this looks like a lot of fun to uncover, and, like, I can't wait to build... Okay, I don't... Oh, you're fucking right. Holy shit, he just leaves. That's incredible intel, thank you for sharing. I mean, I was definitely in that camp of, like, being really excited to build characters with such a sprawling passive tree. And, like, it's not just sprawling to be sprawling. It's done in an interesting way, and there are reasons it's designed the way it's designed. But it probably could be better, and I would love to see what Grinding Gear Games does for Path of Exile 2, because they do seemingly have plans to revamp the passive tree in a way. And if I had to guess, it's probably in a way to make it more accessible without losing the complexity. Because, like, in a huge way, that's probably, like, the leading force to the change to the way that skills are handled, and, like, socketing them being changed in Path of Exile 2. Like, not only does it open up a lot of new space for complexity, because you can have, like, what is it, like 8 6-links or something stupid, but, it also makes it so much easier to play the game, especially for new players. Like, the ability to swap weapons out, like, on the fly, without needing to mess with socket colors all the time, is, like, a convenience that is, like, super helpful, even for, like, regular players of the game. And, like, yes, you will still have that min-maxing level of detail, and be able to change the socket colors on your items in the late game, but, all items dropping with the same socket colors, all, like, equipable items, not gems, I mean, just makes it a much better playing experience. And, like, for most builds, you probably aren't going to need to min-max to that degree that you do need to change item sockets, which allows you to, like, just, like, a huge quality of life buff. Very, very rarely needing to mess with sockets is super nice. Because, like, I don't know, that's something that I still get frustrated with Path of Exile, is, like, oftentimes I'll have really, really good items, but I just have to accept taking a shitty item for, like, 2 acts at times while leveling, just because it has the socket colors I need. And, like, the Tabula Rasa is the epitome of that. It's like, you know, It's literally just a garbage item to give you the sockets you need at any given moment. And I don't know. Like, that design space is interesting, I guess, but also while playing the game, it can be frustrating a lot of the time, being like, this item is literally objectively better in every single way, except I can't use it because then I wouldn't be able to use my skill. It can be frustrating. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do, because I don't doubt that you could make an equally, like, not only complex, but, like, complex is not the right word, because when you say complex, it kind of implicates that it's going to be hard to learn. So I guess, I don't know, detailed, intricate, they're all synonyms, but none of them quite match. Like, I guess you could probably have a passive skill tree with the same, like, build potential is the nicest way of putting it, that allows you to create characters as diverse as Path of Exile currently lets you create, without it being such a mess of information right off the gate. And I have also defended it a little bit, but in the way that, like, you can admire their tenacity to make it as, like, user-friendly as possible, while still working with something that is, like, inherently not user-friendly. Like, there is the benefit that when you open up the passive tree, you are only given 2 options right off the gate. Whereas, like, something like, I've talked about it before, but Grim Dawn does something, like, abysmally bad, in my opinion, for creating characters, is, like, they have, like, the 4 basic stats, I think. I forget the name of the stats, because it's been a while since I played my Grim Dawn character. I honestly just kind of got bored of the game. But, Grim Dawn does something absolutely awful with, it's like, I forget the name of it. They're like constellation points or whatever. You get like these separate skill points that are like super meaningful and can kind of, in a way, be related to the Path of Exile's passive skill tree. Because in a way, it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's a... Oh, I forgot to get rid of this guy. It's just a massive, sprawling mess of, like, different passive nodes that you can invest into. Almost died there. And now I've got 2 fish, but one of them will leave, hopefully. The biggest problem with Grim Dawn's, like, whatever they're called, Constellation passive tree, is the fact that, like, unlike in Path of Exile, where you're only given 2 options at the very start, and it branches out in complexity past that, you also kind of get an understanding of, like, oh, you know, the things in my area, if you're making a very simple Path of Exile build, the things in the area where you start are usually going to be good for whatever character you've selected. It's not always the case, but most of the time that's going to be the case. But as Grim Dawn, like, they give you this massive map of constellations that is just a complete mess to look through everything. But you have to look through everything. Because unlike in Path of Exile, where, like, you slowly path to things, in Grim Dawn, the system is set up so that, like, literally every point you apply matters. Because, like, it's a really weird system where, like, you have these 5 different colored, like, I don't know what they call them. 5 different colored, like, essences. I don't know what they call them. They call them something in the game, but I forget the name. And depending on these, like, 5 different colored essences that you have, you unlock certain constellations that you can actually apply passives into. So, like, one of the constellations, for example, might say you need, like, at least 20 blue and at least 30 green before you can even put a point into this. And, like, the very, very first passive points that you're spending on this constellation tree are points that decide what, like, color essences you're going to get. And for completing any given constellation, you are given bonus of these, like, different colored essences. Why did that happen? So, like, oh my god, I hate it when this happens. That's, like, the worst of all worlds. So if you actually want to create a quote-unquote good Grim Dawn build, you have to plan your path through the constellation tree, like, right off the get-go. Like, you have to basically know what the end point of your character is going to be. right when you fucking start, which is a really shitty way of implementing that. Halfway through the Broom Tower DLC, before a friend told you what it did and you had to respect, you just thought you rolled bad. Yeah, adaptability is really rough. The biggest problem with adaptability wasn't just that it's the best stat in the game, nor that it was obscure to how it works, but the rules established by the series indicated that such a stat would be around resistance levels of usefulness. That's fair too. But I don't know, a lot of people going into Dark Souls 2 only played Dark Souls 1? Which, I mean, I guess, like, I don't know. It is fair to say that certain standards can be expected from, like, the first game in the series to the second game in the series. But, I mean, like, it is fair. Like, a lot of stats in both Dark Souls 1 and especially Demon Souls are just garbage stats that are a waste of your time. You know, if I was to give anything to Dark Souls 2, I would say that Dark Souls 2 is... I didn't think I was going to make that jump. Dark Souls 2 only succeeds in one metric, and the metric is you actually can be viable with just about everything. Now, you're not going to have a great time, like, using cestices through your entire playthrough, especially during some of the DLCs. Just the amount of HP that they give certain bosses is absurd. But, yeah, for the most part, like, you can't decide to play Dark Souls 2 in a given way and have the game tell you that's not going to work. Like, pretty much everything works in Dark Souls 2, which is nice. Okay, I made it by holding left. What a stupid fucking jump. Thank you for not going down platform. I was kind of afraid that platform was going to start falling. Okay. So this shouldn't be too hard. Oh, I thought I was going to ledge grab there. You did the entire main game with Cestus. Yeah. It is viable, don't get me wrong. Especially if you're using, like, some of the buffs the game gives you. Like, the lightning buffs that, like, I don't know what to call it, like, the holy... the holy lightning buffs in the game are actually absurdly strong. But does require a little bit more investment to actually get to use those. You also did the entire main game of Dark Souls 1 with Cestus? That's more impressive for sure. I think it's pretty viable in Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 are, like, super possible. It's gonna be harder in Dark Souls 3 than 2, for sure, just because 2 is, like, a vastly easier game than 3 is. But 1 is, like, is actually really impressive, because they do not put damage on the Cestus in Dark Souls 1. Like, that really fucking sucks as a weapon. But I had a ton of fun with Dark Souls 2 when it was first released, just because, like, I had a shit ton of fun, like, coming up, and I'm a fucking dweebus weebus. As a little fucking anime child. I did a lot of, character cosplay runs in Dark Souls 2. Like, I would see a character in an anime and be like, I could see how I can make that work in Dark Souls 2. And it always worked. Like, you can beat the game with just about anything. Including, I also did a Cestus run in Dark Souls 2, by the way, BTW. But, none of the DLC. I don't think I even own DLC in Dark Souls 2, just because, like, by the time that the DLC started coming out, I inevitably got fed up with it. It had that, like... it was, like, such a great moment when it came out, where, like, everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but, like, most people were, like, super heavy praise for Dark Souls 2 just because it was more Souls game. But as the weeks came out past its release, the cynicism started growing higher and higher and higher. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not just the souls, it's also just, like, the damage on everything is so high. And, it's like pretty much every weapon is viable up until the DLC. Dragon Bone Fist, that does change things. That does change things for sure. But yeah, it was a lot of fun in PvP as well. Like, everyone talks about the PvP of Dark Souls 2, because, like, that is one of the redeeming qualities of the game, is, like, when PvP was popular in Dark Souls 2, it was by far the most fun PvP a Dark Souls or any Souls-esque game has ever had. Just because of that build variety, and, like, I still talk about, like, my favorite fucking pyromancy, man. I love the, like, Frieza, okay, sorry, I'm a fake fan. I haven't actually watched Dark Souls. I haven't actually watched Dragon Ball. But I think it's Frieza who holds, like, a little fucking orb of energy on his fingers and then flings it. Like, it seems like a Frieza thing to me. There's, like, a pyromancy that is exact that. You hold, like, a fucking sun of energy at your fingertips and fling it at enemies. / other PvP players. There are a lot of really fun pyromancies. Sorcery was kind of eh. If anything, the most interesting sorceries that have come out in a Souls game have been in Dark Souls 3. The only problem is that, they're all so bad that none of them are viable. Like the fucking laser beam that actually takes 10 full seconds before you can charge it up. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Like, the quick little sword slash that I always talk about is a good idea for a sorcery. It just doesn't do any fucking damage, which is kind of sad. But yeah, pyromancy really hit its stride in Dark Souls 2. I love, like, the delayed firebomb, too. Like, they're actually, like, fucking fighting game-esque abilities. Like, when have you ever seen a game with, like, online PvP that allows you to do something like a delayed explosion in a given area other than Dark Souls 2 and, like, real fighting games? Very cool design on those. Yeah, I have seen the Dragon Bone Fist. Like, I don't know. A lot of people talk about, like, moveset variety. Oh, that was maybe my most embarrassing death to date. A lot of people give the Souls games a lot of credit for, like, their move variety between all the weapons, but, like, I don't know, man. I used to have that opinion, but especially, like, I don't know, the viability of a lot of weapons kind of makes it so, like, even if it has an interesting moveset, it's like, well, yeah, I guess it's fun, but, like, you could just one-hit kill things if you use, like, a different sword that's maybe slightly slower, but I mean, that's like the majority of my Dark Souls 1 playthroughs, because I'm a fucking little baby who used the Zweihander for basically everything. It's like, why would I use anything else that doesn't kill things in one hit? I could just crush dudes. Black Dragon Greatsword, also another favorite, but, like, it's just kind of RNG, whether you get it early on. Which always kind of bugged me about the Black Dragon weapons. Or are they called Black Dragon, or are they just called Black Knight? There you go, Black Knight. Did I really say Black Dragon Greatsword? Got Dragon Bone on my mind. Yeah, like, the Black Knight weapons are, like, really cool, and, you know, understandably, I guess, rare because of how easy they make the game. Like, they're definitely a little overpowered for where you can get them in the game. But it always bugged me that, like, you'd basically have to reset your save if you wanted to do a playthrough with one of those weapons. Because, like, the only place where you can actually farm the weapons is, at the very end of the game. So if you want to do a playthrough with one of those weapons, you have to get lucky or reset the save. Lots of characters use the orbs in DBZ. I need more DBZ knowledge. Frieza is the most famous for doing it for a single finger. Nice, dude! I got it! I knew it! I knew Frieza holds that thing on his finger. I think it's just, like, it's all memory from playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because, like, goddamn, what a fucking great fighting game. Still, like, one of the best fighting games, in my opinion. It's, like, super praiseworthy for its, like, accessibility. Like, the tutorials in the game are super helpful and will go through, like, many viable combos for every character. Like, they teach you how to do ground to air. They teach you, like, interesting synergies between characters. Like, I mean, there are balance issues for sure, and, like, a lot of people don't really like the fact that it doesn't have chip damage to a real degree, because it just makes, like, blocking a little bit too strong, whereas the other Arc System games do that significantly better, like Guilty Gear, and I think that more so in, now I'm blanking on the name, BlazBlue, there you go, do it a little bit more interestingly. But I don't know, I love Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is, like, one of my favorite fighting games. It's just, like, really hard to get into, which is why I praise Dragon Ball FighterZ. And, like, Dragon Ball FighterZ has its own twist on things, and makes it interesting in its own ways. Like, Dragon Ball FighterZ is the first fighting game I had ever played that had, like, live character swapping, and it was, like, so intimidating to me, because, like, I'm so used to playing fighting games where you just main one character, having to learn 3 characters? Are you kidding me? But I think my team ended up being, it wasn't, like, a fucking good team, don't get me wrong. I wasn't playing the meta of having a team of 3 Gokus, but I think my team, I know Beerus was definitely one of them. I would have to look at the character roster, because I'm also just kind of blanking on a lot of the characters' names. I think Gohan was one of them? I would need to see the list. And I think I ended up picking Cell. Like, I had someone different as my third, but then I landed on Cell being a third. I know that anyone who knows Dragon Ball FighterZ, especially with, like, new meta, because I know they've updated the game a lot, and obviously new characters have come out, probably cringing at my lineup. But fun game. Very fun. Never really been into fighting games, but sometimes play them with friends. But never to the point where anyone's actually good. It's actually, I don't know, man. It's, fighting games can definitely be hard to get into, especially with online play when the community is small. I couldn't speak for the community of Dragon Ball FighterZ now, but when I played, it was like, you know, the first few months after the game, excuse me, still going through puberty. A few months after the game first came out, it was actually, like, I don't know, I don't want to say, like, an easy community to get into, but, like, you could definitely stomp some dudes who have no idea what they're doing when you also have no idea what you're doing. So, I don't know. I think the game is just also, like, it has a lot of mechanics that make it more accessible. Like, in the early game, you're probably not going to get too many people who force swap your character for you. Because there's a mechanic where, like, when you take a lot of damage with a character, you can swap out... Sorry, I'm not even fucking paying attention to jumping. They have a mechanic where, like, if you take a lot of damage, especially all at once with a given character, and you swap out to another character, while your hurt character is, like, idle, they heal up to a certain point. And, like, that makes it, like, super easy to come back when, like, both players are not very good at the game. There are, like, better strategies that you'll find in the later game and actually getting good at Dragon Ball FighterZ, where there's a certain thing that lets you force swap the character of your opponent. So, like, if they swap out to heal, you can force swap them back in, but it requires a grab, and there's, like, a counter grab that you can do if you're good at the game, so... But I don't know, like, early on, I think the Dragon Ball FighterZ is a very accessible game to learn, and get to the point where you can kind of understand the fun parts of fighting games. It's, like, by far the fastest I have learned a fighting game. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say with, like, BlazBlue and Guilty Gear, because the mechanics are, like, very, very much the same from game to game, with, like, very slight changes on balance and stuff. And obviously additional characters, but I've played Guilty Gear for long enough that, like, if they came out with a new Guilty Gear, it's not like I would be completely lost. I basically understand, like, how the game works. at this point. But it's like, it's even harder, and I know that some people don't really consider this a fighting game, but something like Lethal League is just so brutally difficult to get into, because, like, everyone who plays it is a fucking legend. Like, if you play online with people, there is, like, not a super acceptable, like, beginner level of play. Like, as soon as you go online, I mean, you'll find some people who are worse than others for sure, but occasionally you're just going to get matched up against someone who, like, Lethal League is their only fucking game, and they are going to absolutely destroy you without even letting you touch the ball. It kind of lives and dies by the community, which is, you know, a necessity for, like, an online fighting game, but also kind of sad. Because, like, as soon as the community dies, it just becomes, like, unacceptable to get into, basically. Your favorite fighting games were Soul Calibur 4 and badly balanced Naruto fighting games on the Wii. Yeah, the Naruto ones, it's so weird because, like, they're not real fighting games, because, like, they really don't put any effort into balance. And, like, I don't know. It's just, like, so many characters have, like, like, incredibly abusable moves that, like, why would you not just spam this? But it's like the gateway drug. You like Naruto, so you get a Naruto fighting game, and then you're like, oh, I think I can get into this, and then you get a real fighting game, and you get absolutely stomped on by online. And then you're like, alright, maybe fighting games aren't for me. It happens, but yeah, the gateway drug is always there. It's also weird, like, I don't know, a lot of anime games are just weird in general, because they're like, they're kind of the only case of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not sponsored, but like, you know, like, games that use a public IP, or not public IP, a private IP. Like, we used to get so many, like, cartoon video games, like SpongeBob video games. I mean, we still do. Like, Battle for Bikini Bottom just got remastered, but, like, there were so many movie tie-in games. Like, I remember one of my most haunting memories from playing games as a kid was, my mom had signed me up for, like, a video game rental service, and, like, I didn't fucking know what to rent. I just, like, went on the website and was like, I don't know. I know what Zathura is, so I'm gonna get the Zathura video game. And I get to play it for a week. And, yikes, dude. I played a lot of bad games that way. I played some really awful Jimmy Neutron games. Not the PC game, I actually owned that one. But there were a lot of really bad Jimmy Neutron, like, movie games. There was one that I, like, literally couldn't get past the tutorial, and I know, like, maybe that's embarrassing to admit, but I was both a baby, and also, I feel like the game just did a really bad job of, like, showing you what to do. It was, like, literally the first mission in, like, a Jimmy Neutron spy game or something. And, I remember the atmosphere you're in is, like, really snowy, and there was just this one part that I had no fucking clue what I was supposed to be doing in, and it stayed that way until I had to return the rental. But so many awful, awful movie tie-in games. Men in Black 2, the video game, crushed you as a child. Yeah. Yeah, it's... Oh, God, I didn't think that went all the way. Dude, I've regressed in skill so much during the banter. But, yeah, you don't really see that anymore. Outside of anime tie-in games, because there are a lot of anime tie-in games. And most of them are, like, shonens that literally just take you through, like, entire arcs of the anime, but, like, in a really awkwardly paced, like, just dialogue-heavy cutscene kind of thing. Visual novel is another way of describing it. But, like, I've heard from, like, a lot of people that Japan just, like, really likes that kind of storytelling. Like, they're just super okay with dumps of exposition where you just read dialogue for like hours and hours, and I have to believe it at this point, because so many games that come out of Japan really do rely heavily on storytelling of that kind. And it's really fucking broken me, though, because, like, one of my favorite game series is the Atelier series, and they kinda... I mean, I know a lot of people like the modern Atelier, and I know it was always, like, you know, a little anime-heavy, but especially nowadays, it feels like the developers don't even care about the gameplay of it, and just care about making cute waifu characters and dumping exposition on you for hours. It's rough. But like a lot of the older Atelier games have like actually really good gameplay. And not as far as like the combat. Like I always wish that they would do something more interesting with combat. That's kind of how I feel about literally every JRPG though. Is like this game would just be better if it had a different combat system. There are times where I'm accepting of it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon at all. Kinda hate it. But I love Dragon Quest Monsters because at least Dragon Quest Monsters does something more interesting with the Pokemon in the series. And I think that the like fusion that you can do is actually like a lot of fun, and it's, I don't know, you actually kind of get to like build your own, like not every not every monster is built the same, I'm just built different, lol. But yeah, through fusion you get to like take traits from monsters and like pass them down the line, so like, yeah, you could find like a Cyclops guy, but you could also make your own Cyclops guy through like a large line of fusion and make him better, which is cool. You learned about the Naruto story through, well, let me actually get time to read that, but paraphrasing, I think I understood what you said. You pretty much learned most of the Naruto story after early Shippuden through the Naruto games, yeah. Probably not the best way of experiencing it, but the anime is probably not the best way of experiencing it either. Because, yeah, animes do be kind of slow, especially, like, weekly release shonens. Like, I pray and hope every night that when One Piece ends, they'll do, like, they'll give it the same treatment that Dragon Ball got. Just basically, like, an abridged version of the series that cuts out a lot of the bullshit filler and just, like, gets to the point. Because, like, One Piece is so often heralded for having, like, oh shit, I forgot to walk off. One Piece is so often heralded as, like, being one of the animes with the shortest amount of filler, or, like, the smallest amount of filler episodes to non-filler episodes. But, like, you should not be praising that. Like, for anyone who actually watches the show, like, you should understand why that was so bad. Why that's not really praiseworthy, because instead what One Piece does is slow the pacing down of literally every single canon episode. To the point that you're basically getting, like, 3 fucking pages of the manga per episode of anime. It just makes it, like, a slog to watch it sometimes. And I still think that, like, it's better at moments. Like, the Skypia arc is one of my favorites on the anime. Water 7, which I always put 2 waters, and I feel like that's not right. But for some reason, I always call it Water 7 and not Water 7. Anyways, that's also one of the greatest, though that one still suffers a little bit by being way longer than it should be, especially, like, the Nico Robin backstory could have been done way faster than it was. There's, like, 5 full episodes of backstory. There's some, like, way too thick backstory in Skypia, too, now that I think about it. The real backstory of Nolan Blanc was, like, 2 episodes, when it really should have been, like, half an episode at that. So, the pacing of One Piece is just awful in the anime. Maybe one day, when One Piece is finally over, they'll try and redo the anime. But, like, I don't know. I'm optimistic to some degree, because, like, I know Toei just fucking loves money. And, like, if they can do anything to get more money out of something that's already finished, they will. Just look at Dragon Ball, right? But, just shouldn't have gone that fast, huh? At the same time, I also understand that, like, even if One Piece was abridged to make it go much, much faster, it would still be, like, at least 500 episodes, probably. So I don't know. Like, while I would like to dream that Toei would revisit it, and also, like, I don't know, I just don't have any hope in Toei at all, because, like, they have done abridged versions of arcs in movie form, but it is, like, the laziest fucking cash grab imaginable. Like, one of the particular, like, biggest offenders is they made a movie of the Skypia arc, but, like, it literally contains footage from the anime at times, which is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're reselling us a product which, like, has some original animation, but, like, you're also just going to awkwardly cut to scenes of the original anime at times? Like, ugh. It's really bad. And they also, like, don't even do the arc justice. Like, they skip over a lot of what makes that arc so good. Speaking of anime tie-in games, you really love the PlayStation 2 Fullmetal Alchemist games? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. One Piece is definitely fairly intimidating. I like, to anyone interested in One Piece, I can't fully recommend the anime. Just because of how slowly it's paced. And it gets way, way worse at moments, too. Like, I think after the time skip, it got particularly bad. Like, the Fishman arc was, like, really, really slow, in my opinion. I even thought Thriller Bark was a little bit too slow, but, thankfully it picked up the pace after that for a little bit, up until the time skip, and, yeah, Fishman arc was a little bit of a snooze for how slow it went. Punk Hazard, I was not a big fan of, and what scares me most is that, like, where we stopped watching One Piece was, like, right at the end of Punk Hazard before it goes into Dressrosa. And everyone says, like, collectively, everyone is like, oh yeah, Dressrosa is by far, like, the worst the anime has been as far as pacing. Like, it's something stupid, like 200 episode arc, when it's got, like, about the same amount of content as Water 7, which was also, like, a pretty long arc, but definitely extended beyond its welcome. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little afraid of Dressrosa. And also, like, animation quality has been shit on a lot in that part of the series. Yeah, I watched Goblin Slayer. I don't know how I feel about Goblin Slayer. It's got its moments, I guess, but, like, it's... Here's the thing. You watch Goblin Slayer movie, but the first 25 minutes are just a recap of the series using footage from the episodes? Yikes, dude. Yeah. Like, cash grabs like that are so disheartening, because, like, I don't know, there are some good anime movies that are, like, just reanimations of a series, but movie form. Like, I've heard some good things about the Gurren Lagann movies, because it's literally, there's 2 movies, and it's just, like, the first and second arcs of Gurren Lagann. But, haven't watched them myself. I probably should, and will at some point, but I don't know, like, if I had a complaint about Gurren Lagann, it's that the first few episodes, it's like they had a 20-episode series, but they were given 25 episodes or something. I've gone back and forth about it, and I think I've talked about it on stream, where, like, there is, I guess, like, an interesting quality to the part that, like, the anime starts so slow, because, like, one of the big things about Gurren Lagann is that it, like, one of the themes of the show is, like, rapid progression and, like, exponential amping up. So, like, it to some degree, you could argue that, like, the show being really slow at the start adds to the fact that, like, when it picks up, it really starts picking up fast. But I don't know. I think that Gurren Lagann would be a little bit better without the first few episodes. Goblin Slayer, despite being in a controversy, you feel is very mediocre, 6 to 7 out of 10. You feel the same way about Shield Hero? I didn't watch Shield Hero. The only Shield Hero I got was when I worked at GameStop. For whatever reason, there was an advertisement for Shield Hero on our GameStop TV, which always struck me as, like, really, really weird when it's not even, like, we do have some anime merchandise and stuff, but, like, to my knowledge, we didn't have any Shield Hero merchandise, so I had no idea why GameStop TV wanted to talk about that for, like, 5 minutes every 30 minutes of every day. But, yeah, from Goblin Slayer, I don't know. It's really, really hard for me to get past an anime that is, like, strongly themed about gaming. Like, it hasn't happened to me yet. And I know that it's not really gaming, it's more D&D for Goblin Slayer, but, like, and I know they don't even go that into it, like, it's not like they're talking about their fucking rolls and like, oh shit, I really got a critical hit on that goblin just now, but still, like, I don't know. It's a little bit too much. I don't know, it was... The only thing I'll give it is it was, like, not unfun to watch, but nothing particularly interesting happened in it either. Like, I don't feel super compelled to, like, continue with it if there is an additional season, which there probably will be, and I'll probably watch just because my girlfriend liked it, but... yeah, I don't know. I'm just middling on it. I thought it was kinda eh. Would definitely not have finished it if not for my girlfriend enjoying it, that's for sure. But, like, a show that I think is, like, similarly just for fun, but does it way better and is, like, way more fun to watch. I talked about it last time I streamed, was Dr. Stone. Is, like, it's a bit of a meme, but it's also just fun to watch. So... That's, I don't know why I would watch Goblin Slayer when I could just watch that. But I don't like watching animes until they're, like, fully out, or at least till a season is fully out. I know I'm a weird one like that, but... I don't know, man, I just can't wait. Animes too consistently will, like, force you to wait on a cliffhanger for, like, a fucking full week, and I don't have that kind of patience. I just wait till it's all out and then binge it. So that's what I plan on doing for the second season of Dr. Stone. Well, we haven't watched anime in a while before Dr. Stone. I think the last thing we watched before Dr. Stone was Evangelion, and that was a while ago. That was quite a while ago. But yeah, you know, there's good animes out there. There's a lot of mediocre animes, and there's a lot of animes that, even when they're good, rely a little bit too much on certain tropes, which is why a lot of people don't like anime, which is fair. Like, there's definitely some tropes to complain about, for sure, but... It's just like TV. Dr. Stone is 6 out of 10 with moments that can be 9 out of 10. You find the fighting... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can also understand that. I mean, it's like the show... I think the show decently knows what it's doing well, though, and relies heavily on that to carry it. I guess I can agree that I'm a little bit worried about what the second season ends up being like, because it's literally called, like, Stone Wars, and it's heavily implied that perhaps the entire season is just going to be Tsukasa fighting, but, like, that's not really where the series excels. So, I don't know. Season 2 could be a letdown, but I thought Season 1 was pretty good. Definitely, like, at no moments, like, there were definitely parts where I was like, you know, can we get past this? But there were no episodes that stood out as being, like, truly awful, I don't think. Dude, why is this jump so weirdly finicky? Don't do that. Like, I want the balloon to be at its highest point. There you go. There's probably an easier way to do that, but that feels safest to me. Okay. Focus up, boys. I mean, now that I know how to do this, it should literally never be difficult. Although that was a little scary. Yeah, hopefully the second season isn't like a total disappointment. But also, I don't know. I could forgive it if that is the... the biggest thing for me is I have no fucking clue how the story intends to, like, keep itself interesting. Fuck. That was so slow. I don't know how the story plans on keeping itself interesting if Tsukasa is really just going to, like, you know, not accept science at all. Because, like, I don't know, they already have, like, steel weaponry against stone tools. Like, as soon as, like, you get a real gun involved, like, yeah, no, I guess if it's flintlock, you can expect that they'll fight during the rain. They already made a point of that, but I don't know, past a certain point, like, what are they gonna do if fucking Senku makes mustard gas? Like, is Senku the kind of guy who will avoid a war crime? or will he make himself a war criminal live on TV? I can't say for sure. But no, I get you. Like, but I don't know, it's also just trying to be an anime in the way that every anime tries to be an anime. And it's the same thing that I don't like out of the Atelier series. It's like, you have some really interesting things going on in the series. Like, the crafting mechanics of Atelier are, like, seriously, like, there's some meat to it, and you could make... And I don't tell anyone, because I'm a game maker. I do plan on making a game with a similar crafting feel to the Atelier series, because it's so unique, and, like, it just feels like more could be done with it than is currently done in the Atelier series. But, like, instead of actually focusing on making good games, they're just, like, repeating the exact same formula, but adding different anime girls on top of it. It's like such a tragedy. It's like that series, it used to stand for something. Like, you can actually do so much with the crafting systems that I think it, like, I don't know, it's got a similar feel to it that Dragon Quest Monsters has, actually. But instead of monsters, you, like, take base materials and evolve them up to an interesting product that inherits, like, attributes from the materials you use. Like, that's such a cool concept, and could be, like, could be cooler if they actually cared about making a game instead of making a visual novel with anime girls. So I don't know. Yeah, my distaste for the Atelier series is ever growing, but I'll probably still keep playing the games, because I hope that one day they'll go back from it. Senku does biological warfare. Yeah. Thank God we found those prions. Prions? I don't know how to pronounce it. See, if you take this one bacteria that's in this water, all we have to do is slip it into their water supply, and they'll be shitting for days. And probably, well, I mean, you know, it is a stone world. You don't really recover from shitting for days in a stone world. Giardia? Is it Giardia? No, Giardia doesn't give you, I know Giardia because I, like, at one point in my life, had a doctor think that I had Giardia, and then, like, I was like, I don't know. I googled it, and I was like, I literally have 0 of these symptoms, so I don't know why you would think I have Giardia. It's not like I'm drinking out of any raw water or anything. Yeah, just get Giardia. That's probably still survived after 3,700 years. No, I don't think they'd go there. Believe it or not. I have a feeling that that they're trying to make this Senku guy like a cool guy, like a guy we respect. But it would be a huge twist of fate if like the entire village turned on him because he melted Tsukasa's entire army with like an acid bomb. It'd definitely take an interesting turn. But yeah, I really don't know how they keep it interesting, though. Like, I'm suspending my disbelief for now. Like, I don't know. It was... it was already a little bit hard to be like, okay, yes, this guy has unknown power because he spins his spear around. Like, that is the strongest form of weaponry, a spear that spins in a circle. But at some point, like, come on, man. You need to give them something else than just brute strength. Because it can only go so far. Like, especially, like, I don't know, they don't have any sort of armor or anything. They haven't made a shield. What are they gonna do if they bring out a tank? What are they gonna do? It just seems a little bit... I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna be like, it's unrealistic that, you know, they could make a vacuum tube using a very strong dwarven craftsman. But I do think it's going to be hard to keep things interesting. Like, I don't know, the series kind of is implying that they want to get back to, like, modern civilization and beyond. Fucking, you know, who knows, maybe the... I mean, they said the original blast started in, what, like, somewhere in South America, I think? But, it's probably aliens, dude. Like, what else could the ending be than, like, Senku goes to space to kill the aliens that froze the world or something? I don't fucking know. Who knows? It's definitely an uphill climb to keep the same pace. Like, it's currently at the level where, like, you know, basically every advancement is, like, a huge leap and super cool, but I feel like at a certain point, you can't introduce conflict into that with the way the series is currently set up. That was unfortunate. Oh, I didn't even get rid of that one fish. Not that that would have helped me that much. But yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to watching what most would regard as bad animes, though, because the next one we plan on watching is The Gray Man, which is basically, like, I don't know, the number one way I could describe it is, like, the Kingdom Hearts of animes, and that, like, it just seems like the story is weirdly convoluted and doesn't seem to actually be going anywhere. But, people like it on theme alone, I guess. I always related the two heavily together, but that's probably because in middle school and high school, there was a girl in a few of my classes that not only was super into Kingdom Hearts, but also The Gray Man, so maybe there's some, like, bias I'm not aware of that I'm so strongly relating those two things together. You watched a little bit of The Gray Man, but doesn't that show have 70+ episodes? Yeah, pretty much exactly. If you exclude filler, it's 75. But I'm also, like, you know, I've watched 500, 600 episodes of One Piece. So, the long series don't really faze me too much. I mean, when the series is, like, actually affected by its length in a negative way, just because, like, it's not long because it needs to be long, it's long because the pacing is just bad, like in the case of One Piece, then, you know, you start to have issues. Like Naruto, too. I mean, like, especially if you're including filler, like, the original run of Naruto. What is it? It's like, it's got like a full 100 episodes of filler past the last canon episode. Like, the original run of Naruto ends at, like, episode 200 or so, but has, like, another some odd 100 episodes after that. Let me make sure I'm not just talking out of my ass. I think I remember this. Yeah, let's see. No, it's not 100, but it's like 50. Yeah. God, that's so bad. And then, like, at the very end, they kind of squeeze in, it's a little bit canon. The only reason episode 220 is canon is because they just show Naruto leaving with Jiraiya. Which, yeah, is canon, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, like, the real series ends at episode 142, but keeps going until 220. That's so absurd. And, like, Shippuden is... You have a lot of problems with Naruto? Good, me too. Shippuden is bad, both because of filler, and also because, like, just, like, it's not even, like, the fault of the anime, it's just, like, the manga kinda fucky-wuckied. It just, like, I don't know. The show tried to, like, rapid accelerate to an ending. It's, like, very clear, and, like, the mangaka, like, himself was, like, very open about the fact that he didn't want to be working on Naruto anymore, and he was very much done with it. But, yeah, he wrapped it up, in a way. It's just, like, the entire fucking, like, Ninja Wars was so, I don't know, it felt very forced, and at no point did it feel like there was any tension. It just, like, so many characters that you don't care about were brought back. I don't know, man. Just a not super great finale to the whole Shippuden thing. There were moments in Shippuden that were great. Like, I think probably, like, one of my favorite Shippuden moments is the very start of the series. Like, oh shit, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, Sakura versus Sasori, that's him, is, like, by far one of the heights of the series, and that happens, like, at the very beginning of it. I can't say that many good things about the original run of Naruto. I would say the original run of Naruto really only has one good moment. This guy's doing hopscotch, look at him. Back and forth from pool to pool. The original run of Naruto exists only for the Guy versus Gaara fight. It's, like, the only reason. It's like its one redeeming quality is Guy versus Gaara in the Chunin exams. And it's a good moment, but not worth watching, like, 140 episodes of anime for. But, yeah, Shippuden, I think that Sasori was a height, and the Pain / Nagato was a height. But other than those two moments, I think the show is kinda there's, like, some good parts in between, like, I don't know, oh, fuck off, dude. I think the, I don't remember the names, dude. Who's the shadow guy? The Shadowmancer? Fucking... That guy, like, trapping that other guy in a pit for the rest of his life, that was kinda cool. Albeit a war crime, for sure. The end of the story falls apart in ways that you just can't stand. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, like... it's so weird, too. Like, at no moment, ever, throughout the entire series... Shikamaru, there you go. At no moment through the series at all do they even, like, talk about this, like, fucking lady. I forget her name, but, like, the fucking mother figure to the world or whatever. The weird horned demon lady. And then all of a sudden, like, that's who we're all going to team up against. And Sasuke is cool now. He's actually very good. But wait, No, he's not! After we teamed up, we have to go for one last fight. One last fight, Naruto. You and me, we're gonna fight to the death. Except, actually, we're just gonna cut off one arm each and sit on a rock like the end of SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie. Kaguya. There you go. Look at this guy. This guy's got all the names. And for whatever reason, Sasuke decides not to get another arm. Very weird champ moment. Naruto's just like, come on, dude. Like, you can just get a new arm. Sasuke won't. He just thinks it's cooler that way. It's the fashion sense that he wasn't bold enough to make on his own, but if Naruto blew his arm off, he'll take it. The height of fashion. I don't know, just, I can't even talk about Boruto because I've seen very little of it. Like, I watched that one movie, which is like Naruto being a shitty dad, and Boruto being upset about it, and then at the end, like, Naruto does some cool shit, and Boruto is like, oh my god, now our family is fixed. Finally. Am I trying to beat Acceptance Plus 2? Yes. Yeah, I am. How's it going? You like the final Naruto versus Sasuke fight? I don't know. I thought it was very weird that Sasuke was okay with helping Naruto out. I mean, like, there's that whole weird part where he went to, like, Orochimaru and, like, they brought back the oh, fuck, what are they called? The Hokage! There you go, they brought back the Hokage. He's just, like, asking the Hokage, like, what am I doing with my life? And then he helps Naruto. And then he fights Naruto. And then after they blow arms off, he's like, alright, we're fine. We're cool, actually. That didn't feel very satisfying. Like, I don't know, his entire motive for fighting Naruto didn't even make sense. Like, why? Why is he fighting Naruto at the end? I just don't get it. In fact, like, the entirety of Sasuke's character, I don't really understand. Sasuke as a character has just done bad the entire time? Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know, he has no real motives, ever! Like, why the fuck is he doing? I guess, like, at a point, his motive was, excuse me, other Uchiha? Itachi, there you go! I brought the memory back. His motive was Itachi for a bit. But then, like, it turned out Itachi was actually just a cool dude. Like, I don't know. You would think that Sasuke's entire, like, reason for what he's doing would fall apart right there, but then, no, he just keeps doing it. I guess it makes sense that he would want to tear apart the Hidden Leaf Village, because, like, they did kind of fuck over Itachi, but at the same time, like, Itachi did it to save the Hidden Leaf Village, so, like, you're kind of spitting in the face of everything your beloved brother did. It's just, none of it makes sense. It's just really bad. And don't even get me started on the fucking, like, companion squad that Sasuke got together. Like, all of that was so pointless. Like, he did not need to get his own squad. There's so much wasted airtime for shit that literally no one cares about. Like, the only thing that came out of that was the opportunity to laugh at all of them for trying to fight Killer Bee and just fucking getting destroyed, for the most part. You're really convinced that Obito should have been the final villain, but then he became so lame and Madara is boring big power man, but at least he had build-up for Kaguya. Oh yeah, Kaguya's just... okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, the Kaguya thing as a whole, like, literally just seemed like the guy didn't know... like, he didn't want Madara to be the final guy for some reason? Because, I mean, admittedly, Madara is kind of, yeah... kind of like, I don't know... like, one-dimensional character is the best way of putting it. But... I mean, Obito, too, is like, he went through the exact same thing Sasuke did. Like, he just converted for literally no good reason. Like, Obito joining their side made no fucking sense. But I don't know. Like, it's like Sasuke just has fucking teenage angst at all moments, which is kind of like the whole point of his character, I guess, but the Naruto fight was just, like, spiteful. Like, he just had all this pent-up rage he didn't know where to put. So he's like, alright, Naruto, we're fighting. It really just felt like they had to do it because, like, that, to some degree, was, like, the theme of the original series, was their rivalry. And, like, it very much departed from that in Shippuden. But, I don't know, like, if you've got Sasuke back, feels kind of weird to not put a cap on their rivalry, so they just kind of forced a fight when it didn't really make sense to have a fight in the first place. Am I speedrunning the whole game, or am I just playing Acceptance Plus? I'm just playing Acceptance. And it's not even a speedrun, I just have a timer up. Because I always have an arbitrary timer up. Dude, I forgot to mention I'm famous now. Ever since my my last stream that I did the Satera 50 States, I was followed by Satera Geography 15 hours ago while I was offline. This is very strange, but I guess they've got someone working at Satera that that, like, checks the Satera category. Because, like, I don't think most people, when they're doing the 50 States quiz, do it under the Satera category. Because, like, the Satera category on Twitch has, like, 70 followers or something ridiculously low. Which makes sense, because it's literally just a bunch of geography quizzes. But, yeah, I guess they just looked at the Satera category on Twitch and saw that there was one person who had recently streamed it, and they're like, oh, I gotta follow this guy. He can click the states at a moderately fast pace. No 15 seconds, though. No 15 seconds yet. I'm still bummed that I didn't get a better time than 56. Like, I don't even know if I'd be satisfied. Like, I don't really think it's that impressive to do anything above 50. Like, I guess it is a little impressive, but I don't feel good about it unless I got under 50. Because, like, then you're actually, like, you're really going what I would consider fast. Whereas anything above 50 seconds is, like, you know, more than 1 second per state. Like, that's not very fast. Excuse me. But yeah, as soon as you break that 50-second boundary and are going faster than 1 second per state, that's the juice, dude. That's the juice. Your biggest problem with Obito is that he was portrayed as a very different character before the end of Shippuden, which makes you think that he was rewritten near the end. The cold, calculating man who lived his life as a lie to bend the world to his will. Yeah. It's not only that, it's like... like, the pivot point. Like, if there was ever to be a pivot point for Obito, wouldn't it be when he killed Rin? And not, like, fucking years after that? Just because, like, to some degree, Kakashi kicked his ass a little bit? Like, I don't know. What the fuck? Like, it just makes, like, there's no reason he pivoted when he pivoted. There's no inciting incident for the way he acted. He just, like, all of a sudden was like, alright, I'm with you guys now, I guess. It just, yeah, it felt very forced. I mean, the entirety of the ending of Naruto, and to some degree, like, large portions before the ending of Naruto, felt pretty forced. But it has its moments, for sure. It's just like, I would never recommend Naruto to anyone who didn't find it of their own accord. Like, it's not a recommendable anime by any metric, really. I mean, especially, like, God forbid, like, I can't believe there are people out there who actually sit through filler. That's gotta be rough. Like, I'm not gonna say that filler can't be good, because, like, you can definitely have some... I mean, there are some people who have said, like, there are some people who have said, like, certain filler arcs in certain animes are better than the canon stuff. I think there's a One Piece arc that's like that, where people are like, this is actually, like, above the canon content. I think it's right around where the animation quality really improved, because, like, the actual canon content really felt like filler, because it was just, like, really slowly paced and bad. And, apparently there was a filler around that area that was significantly better than the actual canon stuff. So, I mean, it's not like all filler is bad, it's just, like, you can never have a filler that actually affects the real story, which, I mean... It's not really like that section of One Piece affected the story, but it could have. If he had gotten beaten by Kakashi and then said, fuck Madara, fuck the Leaf Village, and left with spite, maybe it would be okay, but his motivations just fell apart, which hurt more than Sasuke. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess I can understand being more upset about the Obito thing than the Sasuke thing. But, like, they are basically the same thing. It's just, like, two characters' motives just instantly taking a 180. And in Sasuke's case, it just feels especially bad to me, because it was a 180, and then another 180, and then another 180. Like, he hates the Leaf Village, he hates Naruto. 180. He's going to help you guys to defeat Kaguya and Madara to some degree. 180. He actually wants to fight Naruto. 180 again. Now that he's lost an arm, he's totally cool again. It's just like... It's whiplash, man. It's whiplash. But not in, like, the way that it's a really good movie. In the way that it just sucks. Dude, I feel like I'm not going to make it to space today. Like, my plan was to do Factorio in space after this, but this has taken too long. You just always expected Sasuke to be disappointing, that's fair. Yeah, if you set your expectations low, they really can't go much lower. Because he already had a pretty low bar from the original Naruto series. Hard to drop too far from there. I've had way too many deaths past the fish. Like, once I get past the fish, it really shouldn't be a problem, but I keep dying juking out the dropper guys for some reason. I don't know, I'm getting way more confident with the fish, especially now that I'm using the little cheap trick to get one of the fish to die. It is significantly more consistent for me to go through this section. I don't think any anime has been, like, as much of a disappointment for as much of a drag as it was, though. I mean, I don't know, I haven't heard great things about Dragon Ball. At least the original run of it. Like, obviously there are complaints about the pacing. But I haven't looked at, like, the filler list for the original Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or anything. I wouldn't be surprised to see that it's high, but, I just haven't looked at it. I mean, at some point, my girlfriend and I probably are going to watch, Dragon Ball, but hopefully not the original. Hopefully we're going to watch the one that, cuts down on the filler and screaming a little bit to improve the pacing. Although I know she's here, and hearing me say that, she'll want to pipe up that the screaming is an important part of the experience. It is? Yeah, okay, there you go. There it is. Wasn't surprising. I mean, there's definitely a quality to Goku going even further than beyond for an entire episode of screaming. But, I don't know. I don't think I could handle it. Goku going. Yeah, I can't talk today. And I'm dead. I could have lived. Not only can I not talk today, I can't fucking play today. I mean, some of it was just because I was autopiloting, but that's a particularly bad death. It's weird, because villains like Sasori did have some weight behind them, but boring scum like Kakuzu? Is that the plant guy? Because, like, I don't even fucking recognize that name, Kakuzu. And a bunch of the minor villains shows that characters weren't a majority, or a majority of the time, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, I thought there was some interesting stuff with Hidan, but they also just didn't really go in depth on his character in the anime. I don't think Hidan's partner was all that interesting. No, actually, I think he was a little more interesting than most of them. Wasn't he the brother of that, fish guy? Or no, wait, wasn't the brother of the fish guy the guy with Sasuke? How many characters am I mixing together? I forget who Hidan's partner was. I know he killed that one guy, Shikamaru's sensei, but I don't really remember that much about the character himself. I mainly just thought Hidan was cool because of theming. Because, like, I don't know, it's got, like, a Metal Gear aspect to it, where Hidan is kind of cool because they didn't really go into detail about how he exists as, like, an immortal. Other than, like, just showcasing that he's, like, really devoutly religious, but, not really explaining how that works. I feel like if they did go more into detail about Hidan, he would probably be a way more boring character. That reminds you of Orochimaru. Like, did his storyline get cut or something? He does just disappear, yeah. He does entirely disappear. And it's weird, because, like, they were going really hard on it for a little bit, and, like, there was some spy shit going on, but no, then he just, like, stopped existing. It might be an anime thing, though. Like, you can never be too sure. Maybe they went more into detail about that kind of thing in the manga, because it does feel, like, really abrupt that you just don't hear about him at all until right at the end of the series, where Sasuke just, like, immediately finds him, like, basically revives him to a degree, and, starts asking him questions about what to do with his life. Just very weird. Very weird. It's not the most forced thing I've seen. Like, One Piece has a very, very forced, thing to make a character more interesting. That, I don't know. It's like, it's basically, like, a plot hole. But they kind of, like, patched it up a little bit to make it work, though it's, like, obvious that was not the original intention. I always hate that kind of stuff. When you can tell that they're just, like, working around plot holes instead of actually, like, you know, having a plan from the start. The character in question is Brook, which is a great character. I love Brook. But, yeah, his backstory, I mean, well, you know, the backstory is not necessarily bad. The only bad part about his backstory is the fact that they tried to tie it in with, some already existing lore to the series, and tried to relate it to a particular whale that, I don't know, it just kind of falls apart. But I also, like, I don't know, what was Brook's motive? Like, all of the One Piece pirates have, like, very strong motives, except Brook. Like, I think he just wants to be a musician, and he, like, already is. So, to make his character have slightly more punch as to why he's joining the Straw Hats was the whale, which felt very, very forced and out of place. Hidan was with Tendril Weirdo Kakuzu. Okay, so I am thinking of that guy. I'm thinking of Sasuke's Sharkblade friend. Yeah, I know I got those mixed up. Like, what is Kakuzu, though? Like, who the fuck is he? I don't understand. Like, I have literally zero memory of that guy. Is that the guy who, like, put, no, that was Itachi. Am I going crazy? Or, like, who is Itachi's partner? I just don't remember any of these fucking dudes. It's like, a lot of them were, like, very, very unimportant characters. I remember the guy who makes bombs with his mouth hands. How could you forget that guy? I mean, that guy didn't really have strong motives either. I think that was a more likable character, but, like, I don't know. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I want to complain about it because, like, his entire reason for existing is to make art, which is explosions, but I don't know. Not the strongest character, but also, like, in the roster of really, really bad characters that Naruto has, it's okay. There you go! That's the one. They're just, like, all the same. They're all the same character. Sorry. They just blend together. Like, I was guessing that Kakuzu was the plant guy. I have no fucking clue who the plant guy is. Like, literally no detail was gone into the plant guy. I mean, I guess a little bit of detail, but also, like, who fucking cares? The plant guy got the reverse treatment that Hidan got. Like, Hidan is interesting because they didn't really go into detail. They went into a little bit too much detail about the plant guy, especially because, like, they made 10 billion clones of him. It just kind of sucked. It got boring. That dude's name was Deidara? Literally would not have pinned that down as that guy. I thought Deidara was an entirely different character. Yeah, Deidara's cool. Kakuzu, as far as he can remember, he has masks he made from people to give them elemental powers? Yeah! Okay, now I remember. Dude, oh god, I completely forgot. Like, I remember the Shikamaru part where he dug a hole for Hidan. I completely forgot that was, like, the genesis of Naruto's air blast. And, him being told that he's not allowed to do that shit anymore. The Venus flytrap guy! Yeah, Zetsu! That dude. Oh, god. Like, he was always around, too. Like, I don't know. I thought that there was gonna be more intrigue with that guy, because he could, like, basically teleport by going underground really fast. But, no. No, he was, like, the least interesting character of the entire bunch. He had, like, nothing going for him. But, I don't know. Not that many One Piece. Not that many Naruto characters really had that much going for them. There's a few. I don't know, it's hard to tell what things are because of, like, we watch the anime. But also, like, I don't really want to read the entirety of the manga just to know if it, like, is marginally better, because it probably would be marginally better, but I don't know. I also imagine it probably goes on tangents that end up being irrelevant, knowing that the series kind of ends in a clusterfuck. Like, they set up a lot of things, and none of it has, like, a good payoff in the end. Like that Sasuke fight with the guy who stole all those eyes. That wasn't very rewarding. It felt like, I don't know. I did not expect that to come when it came. Like, when he fought that dude, I was just like, alright. I mean, I guess that was the plan for, like... is it Danzo? Did I remember a name? Did I remember a name of a character that I care very little about? I think I do. Yeah. There was a Naruto training montage while he set up hundreds of shadow clones to train faster. I don't even, like, I don't know. I guess that out of the fights that involve Sasuke, his fight with, who I'm gonna keep saying Danzo, because I think I was right. I don't want to say Hanzo, because that's just an Overwatch, but maybe it is Hanzo. That's probably the fight that makes the most sense out of any of Sasuke's fights, because, like, he is the entire reason Itachi was forced to do what he did. But at the same time, Danzo is the guy who became the village leader for like a day before Sasuke killed him. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, that character didn't really have a lot of development either. He was just kind of like a bad guy because he was bad. Like, he just had a different vision for what a ninja should be, but didn't really go into detail as to why he is how he is. Again, maybe the manga went into more detail, but also who cares, because it just ends so abruptly that, like, you can't possibly care about the backstory. There is no satisfying build-up to that fight. It's just like Sasuke's like, alright, I'm here, gonna assassinate you. Goodbye. Gonna try out my new powers. It's like the entire reason it existed was just to show off what Sasuke can do now. And I don't know, it does put a little bit of a cap. But I don't know, you would think that he would stop hating the Hidden Leaf Village after killing the guy who, you know, made Itachi, like, kill his own family line. But no, he still hates the Hidden Leaf Village until he doesn't, until he does again, until he doesn't. Hanzo is also a Naruto character who is killed by pain. Huh. I mean, that's by far the like height of Shippuden, I think. Like, the sorcery stuff was really good, but yeah, like, just the entirety and the build-up to Pain / Nagato was great. And, you know, obviously Jiraiya. Who could forget? But that's like the real climax to the series, in my opinion. And it is, god, I didn't even, until I started thinking about this, I had completely forgot how much I detest the ending of that, though. Like, there were no fucking consequences to anything that happened with Pain. He was literally just like, alright, I'm gonna bring back everyone, I guess. Like, that just ended in such an unsatisfying way. Like, I don't know, man. Just, like, hearing Naruto's story about Jiraiya just fucking changed him. Okay. I'm free. I'm free? This is a weird jump. What is this jump? Oh, wow. Just weird. No! No. Oh, God. That jump did scare me, but, like, those jumps are way easier than they look. I just need to take advantage of, the fact that you can run for, like, a full fucking half second off a block and still be able to jump. But yeah, I don't know. I think that, like, just fucking... First off, just end Naruto after the Pain / Nagato section. And, also make it so that those consequences were permanent. Like... Oh god. Yeah, everyone I killed is back alive now, and also I'm gonna basically fix the village for you. You're really looking forward to learning about Kabuto's endgame, and then he's like, I'm a perfect snake man. I forgot about that entirely, but yeah. Oh god. Yeah, that character, huh? He just wanted to be a snake. Leave him alone, dude. Just let him be a snake. Yeah, that character, god. I forgot what that character went through. That was an interesting character up until that one moment. They did something with that. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Naruto's weird. It's crazy how it could stay so popular for so long. And I mean, it's still popular, despite, like, pretty much everyone agreeing that Boruto is kind of shit. There are still, like, tons and tons of people who watch it and read the manga. It's just, like, perks of being around. Like, it's one of the first popular shonen. You would like the reanimation bit from the pain fight, but Naruto has to choose one person. I guess that would make it more interesting. I don't know, man. I mean, like, it doesn't even make sense that he would pick Hinata, though. Like, the entire Hinata romance is incredibly forced as well. But I don't know, man. It's like literally only exists in that one isolated movie. He's like never cared about Hinata at all, but she's cared about him. And so they just kind of like forced it to happen. In like the duration of a movie. And also he goes to the moon. How could you forget? It definitely has its moments. Like, I think that it makes sense that Naruto caught on, I guess. But especially, like, as far as ending things, like, never really knew how to do that in a satisfying way. But I can understand the, like, final ending being unsatisfying, because, like, the guy writing it just didn't want to write it anymore, but was forced to finish it. So, yeah, this is tie it back to the make short games conversation of last stream. Make short animes. Because if you overcommit on a project, it's probably not going to turn up as great as you expect it to be when you're starting. They always wanted the Hinata relationship, but never pushed it past stalker behavior. Yeah. It felt very, very forced. Also, I can't believe I'm alive right now. I, like, basically clipped inside that enemy. Also, basically almost died there as well. But it's definitely not the worst anime I've watched. That's a good question, though. What is the worst anime I've watched? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to, like, justify it, because, like, while I probably have watched worse anime, none of them have been hundreds of episodes like Naruto. So, Naruto is probably by far the worst as far as time sink versus payoff. But just, like, strictly bad anime. Ooh, you know what? As much as I like it, and it does get, like, it also gets a little bit inflated because it is pretty long. You have an answer to that, but it requires much explanation. Go for it. My worst, and I still like it, so I can't really act like, oh god. But I would never recommend it, is the thing. Like, it's by far the hardest to recommend anime I think I've ever watched. It would be Katekyo Hitman Reborn. It's like, I can't. Like, I can't pretend like it's just has no problems. Like, it is... Oh, I want to reset this, please. Thank you. It is rough from start to finish, basically. Like, I don't know, the anime never... And manga. Don't get me wrong, the manga does it as well. Because I did read a bit of the manga of this one. It, like, really, really doesn't take itself seriously at all. But then there's moments where it really wants you to take it seriously. And, it's like just a regular shonen, except there's, like, also slice of life parts to it. And, like, the first 50 episodes are, like, just basically slice of life, like, seemingly filler content. But then, like, past episode 50, it just becomes, like, generic shonen for a while, and then there's breaks where it's weird slice of life again. It's a weird one. It's probably the worst anime I've ever watched, but it has a soft spot in my heart, because it's also, like, the first anime I actually watched to completion. Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka. I think that would require an explanation. Just hearing the title definitely doesn't sound like it would be that great. But I don't know. There's probably an entirely different competition for worst named anime. Dude, do I take a Death Note as my worst anime as far as not incredibly long animes goes? Death Note's not so great. To be fair, I never finished Death Note, but, like, I don't know. I think that kind of speaks volumes, that it's, like, only 20-something episodes, and I just didn't even have the motivation to finish it. Because, like, as soon as it got into the weird, like, manufacturing of multiple Death Notes and, like, some fucking company business surrounding it, it's just like, what? What's going on? Like, I don't know, I guess it had its interesting, tense moments, but it all falls apart. And it just feels like it went on for way longer than it ever should have. Like, there should have just been a climax surrounding Light and L, and that be the point of the story, but no. It keeps going. I mean, people probably feel similarly about Gurren Lagann, though. But I don't. I feel like I've definitely heard complaints that Gurren Lagann would be better if it didn't have the second season, second arc, whatever you want to call it, since it's all one season, but... I don't know. I guess I go a little bit back and forth. There are really good moments in the second arc of Gurren Lagann. And I feel like the second arc of Gurren Lagann is really important to drive the point home of, like... It does Kamina justice. That's what I'll say about the second arc of Gurren Lagann. It has, like, a very, very satisfying ending. I mean, you might also complain the other way, because it's kind of just, like, magical bullshit that solves the answer in the end, but... it's also cool. I don't know. I like it. The problem with Spec Ops Asuka, besides the bad story and intense fan service, is that its inability to keep tonal consistency creates a thematic problem that makes you hate it. That's kind of why I think that Reborn is one of the worst animes. It'll go straight from, like, wanting you to actually care about the, like, tense scenario where they're like... I don't know how I want to go about spoilers. I mean, if you care about Reborn spoilers, despite me saying that it's not a particularly good anime, I think there are really, really cool moments in Reborn, but, like, I can't advocate watching 70 episodes of a show before it really opens up and becomes, what I think, like, the main interesting part about the show is. But anyways, if you care about Reborn spoilers, leave. If you don't, good. You probably shouldn't. Like, there are moments where they want you to care about, like, the tense scenario that, like, not only are they kind of trapped in the future, where, like, they are hunted, basically, they have also brought in, like, civilians from their time that are also going to be hunted. And so it's like a little bit of a tense situation, but then they also throw in an episode where, like, they are attacked by a massive tortoise, and then actually the end of the episode turns out the tortoise was a friend of theirs and is going to help them recover. And it's just wacky, crazy fun. So there's a lot of weird tonal shifts that happen in Reborn that make it feel off. You like Death Note, but it ends halfway through, and then you should watch the last episode? That's fair. It really does feel like it ends halfway through. But they, I mean, the joke I made about Gurren Lagann saying it's like a 20-episode anime that was given a 25-episode running, or however many episodes it is. That's how, like, the first 5 episodes of Gurren Lagann feel. Well, not the first 5. Like, the first episode, obviously, should be kept, but, like, episodes 4 through 6? Or, sorry, 2 through 6? I just actually brain broken right now. Could probably be yeeted without anyone caring about. Like, do you really need the sauna episode? Do you really need the episode where they hunt, mustache balls? Probably not. Probably not. It feels like, Death Note had, like, a very clear idea what it wanted to be, and then loses it very quickly. But it's clear that they planned that from the start. It's just like, why? Why would you think that's a good idea? To keep the story short, it paints a brutal torture scene as both sexual and comedy, and then a heartwarming message about anti-suicide, which results a thematic clash so hard that it actually felt disgusting. Yeah, I can get that. Sounds pretty bad. Sounds pretty bad. Sounds like the writer tried to delve into a topic that they shouldn't have, and did not have the maturity to do so in a respectful manner. Just like, I don't know. You don't see that too often. That someone so clearly leaps into something they shouldn't, as far as storytelling goes, but yeah, that seems like a particularly bad one. And especially, I don't know, it's like a weird thing to put in an anime that you also said has a lot of fan service in it. Like, what a weird shift. I can definitely understand that being the worst anime you've ever watched. But I don't watch too many anime, especially not once. Like, I don't know, Reborn is like... it's not unpopular by any means, but it's probably, like, the least popular anime that I've watched. For good reason. Like, it definitely makes sense that it's, I fucking hate these jumps. The more I die on those jumps, the more I hate. It definitely makes sense that Reborn has the attention it has. Because, like, while I do think it has its moments, it's just so full of, like, basically filler trash. But, like, you can't really skip it either. You probably could skip a large majority of it, but there are some of these filler-feeling episodes where important things happen. And I don't know, it would kind of, like... it would probably feel weird if you skipped all of that. Like, I'm sure someone does have a list of, like, Reborn episodes abridged so that, like, you only watch the quote-unquote important ones. But that's kind of like, it's not really Reborn at that point. Like, Reborn is what it is because it's such a fucking weird mishmash of genres that don't fit. Which actually is not really entirely the case, because I would say, like, Mob Psycho is a pretty good combination of slice of life and shonen. And Mob Psycho is, like, one of my favorite animes? Like, it's really up there. Mob Psycho is absolutely phenomenal. Essentially, the anti-suicide message was used to convince that character to side with the quote-unquote good guys. After the prisoner begs her to kill her after a brutal torture, which is nearly exactly how the quote-unquote bad guys made the prisoner join them, something that could have been cool if the holy fucking light wasn't screaming, "Look at how heartwarming this scene is." I don't know, I feel like that just sounds to me like they wrote the scene and then realized, like, that they couldn't, like, put it on TV if it's, like, as heavy as it is described. So they tried to lighten it a little bit, but that's not really the kind of thing you can just quickly bring up the happiness factor of. It just seems like it's out of place, too. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'd have to watch it to know the context of the situation, but just having something like that, with the way you describe the rest of it, seems out of place. But that's, you know, that's anime. That's anime. Oh god. I take issue with people who, I mean, for good reason, just, like, abstain from all anime, because, like, while a lot of anime really do follow cliches and tropes a bit too heavily, like, I don't know, like, Mob Psycho is one of my favorite animes, but there would be a lot of people who look at it and are like, I can't take this story seriously because it's about a high school. You know, like, it's a high schooler with magic powers like every other anime. Which, yeah, I guess I get your point, but at the same time, it's like, it's kind of like a big point of the series. Unlike a lot of anime which take place in, like, a high school setting, Mob Psycho is, like, very much about, like, a kid's social awkwardness, basically, and, like, him kind of breaking out into a real person. You really love Mob Psycho, 9 out of 10 for both seasons? Yeah, dude. Yeah, Mob Psycho's great. But, yeah, I don't know. You just can't please the kind of people who are just against the tropes because they're tropes. It's not like Western media doesn't have tropes. Like, we are absolutely chock full of tropes. It's just tropes that you're used to, so you can kind of ignore it. Just because you're getting tropes from, like, a different region of the world, all of a sudden tropes are no longer okay. Weird argument to take, but there are, I mean, I don't know. Some of them are more understandable than others. Like, thematically, yeah, sure. A lot of animes do revolve around high schoolers, but the ones that are a little bit more understandable are people who are like, I can't watch anime because it's, like, fan servicey at times, which, yeah, I don't know. Like, Gurren Lagann is still, like, great, but it does have fan servicey moments, so if you're really, really, like, you can't stand that kind of thing, then I guess I can understand why you wouldn't be able to watch it, but there are definitely some arguments more understandable than others. But even still, there are, like, a lot of anime that are just good shows, and, like, especially the one that is most commonly recommended to people who don't like the sort of tropey nature, or I guess foreign tropey nature, since everything has its own tropes. There is, like, no piece of media that is completely original. I like something Derek Yu said about that in an interview recently, actually. Derek Yu was like, when designing something, you often focus really heavily on the things that you care about, and everything you don't care about so much just becomes tropes or cliche. Like, you'll just borrow it without even thinking about it. Because when you don't think about it, you just take things from things that you've already know and recognize. That's kind of how tropes are a thing. Which I really like that as a message, because it's true. It's like, you should try and ignore tropes. Like, if something literally exists entirely of tropes, and it's just, like, incredibly cliche garbage that does nothing interesting, fine. But, like, if there are interesting moments that, like, make a show really cool, but you can't accept it at all because it has a few tropes, like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know what to do to please you. This is the kind of guy who was only satisfied watching, like, Twin Peaks or something. It's the only show that'll make them happy. But, yeah, I don't know, man. People are weird about it. Sometimes in understandable ways, sometimes in not so. Yeah, no, sorry, I never finished my sentence. Like, one of the most commonly recommended animes to people who don't like the tropey side of things is another one endeavor, One Punch Man. Because it, like, it's literally kind of like a critique on the amount of tropes in animes, but also it's just like a good and funny show. Except Season 2, which I have not seen, but I've heard that it's just god-awful, so I refuse to watch it. Due to the fact that it's Switch Studios. I mean, I've heard the manga is still great. It's like, you know, I trust one, but the anime apparently didn't do it justice. Past Season 1. You think you're pretty chill? Usually takes a lot of dumb stuff to make you hate a show. 90% of what people like about shows is usually one small aspect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, like, I don't know, the people who are like, I can't stand the tropes in animes will watch plenty of, like, Western media filled with tropes, but they don't see it the same way. It's just a different kind of trope. Season 2 is still funny, but the animation quality just went to garbage. That's sad. That's sad. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I know that, like, they outsourced a lot of the animation for One Punch Season 1 as well. And, I guess I don't really know the state of the industry too well, but, like, I guess that does make me a little bit hesitant to support it, because, like, typically, I don't know, at least in, like, America, outsourced contract work like that is usually kind of abusive. But, you know, I shouldn't, I don't know, I'm just a little bit cynical about it, due to, like, already knowing that the animation industry is, like, really shitty. So I guess it wouldn't surprise me if, like, the outsourced animation from, One Punch Season 1 was probably not paid as well it was deserved. But, you know, I just saw that recently about Starbound as well, because, like, I played Starbound on stream, and, like, I don't really like Starbound. I think the game is kind of shit. But, I had no idea the controversy surrounding it until, like, literally last night. I don't even remember what I looked up. But, oh, you know what? Yeah, it was brought up because, I was watching a live stream and people brought up Wargroove. And then everyone in the chat was like, well, I mean, people were pretty divisive about Wargroove. I think Wargroove is pretty shit. It's just a little too simplistic, and, like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of a boring game. Like, it doesn't take any of the good aspects of, like, modern strategy games of that ilk, but, it's also kind of just like a nostalgia grab, so if you're, like, nostalgic for those old, very simple strategy games, it might be a good game. But anyways, yeah, people were either saying Wargroove is shit or Wargroove is great, but also followed by a lot of Chucklefish is kind of kind of monka. And I didn't know the story, so I looked into it. You own Starbound? You heard it was like Terraria? Never play it. Never play it. Especially if it's because you like Terraria. It'll break your damn little heart. Starbound's a very bad game, especially if you're comparing it to Terraria. But anyways, I had no idea the controversy surrounding the creation of Starbound, and that it, like, outsourced a lot of work from fairly young kids, and, like, a lot of it went completely unpaid, which is a yikes moment. But I just had no idea, so I guess I should mention it now, that, I don't support Chucklefish! And I had no idea that was the reason that, I forget the guy's name, but the developer of Stardew Valley broke sponsorship with Chucklefish because of that situation. I thought he just left because he could afford to be independent at that moment and didn't want to be bound by a sponsorship anymore. It's probably partially that as well. Like, I can't imagine he's doing worse for himself now that he owns the entirety of his game. But I wonder how he got out of that sponsorship deal. Because, like, usually a sponsor is not really the kind of thing you can just break out of. He must have paid them, like, an inordinate amount of money to get out of the contract. But, yeah, like I said, he's probably glad he did. Both to distance himself from possible, labor crimes, and also because he's not making full bank, but he's making more bank than he was with the sponsor, I imagine. Because Steam still obviously takes a cut. I'm pretty sure the numbers are open, but I feel weird talking about the numbers. Oh no, I don't know. Steam, I'm pretty sure they've been open about it. I'm gonna Google it, just to make sure the information is publicly available. Before I get myself fired from Valve partnership. Yes, okay, this is public information. Let me read the full extent of it. It's so fucked up. Like, this is worth talking about, too. Yeah, so Steam takes 30% pretty much all of the time. The reason I say pretty much all of the time is because, like, about 2, maybe 3 years ago, somewhere around there, Steam made, like, a big change to their, like, their monetization and, like, how much revenue cut they were gonna take from sales. But it's, like, the exact opposite of how it should be. So, like, Steam's revenue cut, by default, is 30%, which is an industry standard that's been around for a really long time. Not saying that that means it's okay, but, like, they kind of get away with it because it's the standard. The shitty thing, though, is that Valve, like, did the exact opposite of what they should have done, which is, basically, the more money your Steam game makes, the less of a cut they'll take. And it is absurd metrics. Like, I just looked up the metrics again because I googled it to make sure I could talk about it. And at 10 million, they drop the cut down to 25%. And at 50 million, they drop their cut down to 20%. Which basically means that, like, independent developers that need the revenue the most will never reach those revenue milestones to actually get more of the cut. It's kind of like, I don't know, like, why did the rich... Always with the goddamn rich getting richer, dude. Did you really need to be more forgiving to AAA companies that are making millions of dollars off games? It just seems very tone-deaf of a decision. Okay, focusing. I don't want to keep doing this for the rest of my life. There you go. That was good. Okay. I just need to fucking, like, relax for a little bit when I get to this part. Well, actually, this screen's not that hard. I can get past this screen. Should probably wait for a better moment. That was scary. Thought I was gonna dip my little toes through there. I got scared because of the ghost! God damn it, dude. I really should have gone faster there. Because, like, the cycle that I went on somewhat consistently by accident, just by kind of going for it immediately, was like a much kinder cycle to me than that cycle. Steam is a small indie company. Yeah. Yeah, when is anybody gonna think about Valve? Guys, the only reason Valve isn't making more games is because they just can't afford it. They're such a small little company, dude. I do feel a little bit bad about the huge flop that Artifact was, but also, they should have seen it coming. Like, they shouldn't have branded it around Dota. Like, if they wanted Artifact to be successful, it should have been its own IP. And I'm sure what they were thinking was that, oh, okay, it's a card game that's going to be hard to get people interested in it. We have to base it on one of our IPs, or, like, how will we get that first bit of player base to see that it's actually an interesting card game? Because, I don't know, from what I saw, the card game did look interesting. Maybe a little bit needlessly complex, but I don't know, it was just so complex to the point, and it died out so quickly, that I don't think anybody really got to the point that, that they could truly say if it was a well-designed game or not. Like, if I trust Valve for anything, it is their balance. But also, I don't know, it's kind of just for Dota, because they got that one dude, that one legend, who has been, like, the main guy balancing things in Dota for years, but apparently doing a great job of it, so hard to say that anything needs to change about that situation. But I don't know, I feel like, especially when you flashed, like, the Dota symbol, it really, like, got people thinking that there would be a Dota 3. Which, I don't know, what even is a Dota 3? The only reason there needed to be a Dota 2 was because Dota 1 was not even its own fucking game. It was just a mod. So, the shift to Dota 2 made sense, but, like, Dota is still being updated enough that, like, you could call what you're playing right now Dota 3, because it's nothing like the original Dota 2. But people just like seeing number go up. And especially with, like, the whole Valve meme of never releasing a third game. That card game reminds you of a Lawbreakers quote that's hilarious. There's really only room for 3 big games in each genre, and we're hoping to take that third slot. Oh no. But, I don't know, like, it's weird for Path of Exile as well, and I made sure to say as well and not to avoid confusion. But, like, I think it is kind of weird that Path of Exile went the route of calling it Path of Exile 2. It does make sense, because there's a whole original campaign being made for it, but it's also, like, it is literally the same game, like, it's the same game client. So... People just like sequels, though. People get all fucking giddy and excited whenever they see their favorite game have a bigger number after it. But, like, sequels have kind of died down. Like, that used to be the bread and butter, is having, like, a successful IP and making endless sequels of it. You don't see that as much anymore. Knack? Does Knack count? Can I count Knack? It's like, genuinely, Knack is, like, the only game I can think of in recent memory that has had that, like, classic PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era, like, people kind of like this game, so we're gonna make a sequel of it feel to it. I hate bumping my head there. It takes so long to get back after every attempt. Especially when I'm dying on the first room like that. I just wanted to go to space, man. Is that so much to ask for? But like, some of my fondest memories are certain series with sequels. Who could forget the Jak and Daxter trilogy? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people don't really like the second and third one, which is fair. If you did not play Jak and Daxter 1, 2, and 3 as they were released, I can imagine a distaste for them. You don't really expect a new Ratchet and Clank on the PS5? Or you didn't expect it. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there is one. But it's weird, especially because, like, is it Insomnia or Insomniac Studios? They're, like, not the same. Like, that's another weird thing, is, like, Rare did the same thing. Like, Sea of Thieves, they made a big deal that it was a Rare game. Like, what does that fucking mean to me? Like, you're Rare by title alone. None of the same developers from Rare are there, so it's weird that they'll try and drum up nostalgia like that when you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, but it's not the same company though. Insomniac Studios, yeah. Like, none of those developers are the same from the original studio, I'm pretty sure. But, like, I don't know, same thing for, like, Diablo. People are still super excited for Diablo 4, which I find wild, because no one liked Diablo 3. And I don't know why you have so much trust in the Blizzard development side of things when it's not like you're getting a game from the same people that made the original D2 that you love. And, like, honestly, I think that at least one of the original D2 developers did make an ARPG game, but it is not very good, from what I heard. Don't you guys have phones? What? I actually really liked I liked the third game's desert way more than I liked the why did I just run there? Way more than I liked the second game's open world city. I thought, especially replaying Jak and Daxter 2 somewhat recently, good lord. It's not a good game. It's like a really very, like, awful, awful bad game. But I have so many fond memories of it as a kid, because I just didn't know any better. In fact, one of those fond memories is, like, going over to one of my cousin's house and beating a level for him. Because he just couldn't fucking do it. He needed the pro gamer in the house to come help him. But, no, like, replaying that game, so much of the second game is just driving. And that's, like, the biggest complaint that Rockstar has nowadays, because, like, it's clear that Jak and Daxter 2 was heavily inspired by the Rockstar GTA style. But it's not good. Like, and everyone is kind of, realizing that more so now, that, like, the Rockstar style of game is kind of dying. You much prefer Jak 2? Really? I thought that 3 it just, like, got to the point a lot faster, and has way less of that just arbitrary drive to point B. I don't remember too much about the missions in 3, because I didn't play that much of 3 recently, but playing 2 somewhat recently, like, the missions themselves were not that bad. It's just, like, so much downtime in between actual content. Whereas, like, the first Jak and Daxter is timeless, in a way. Just because it's, like, you know, a classic, like, collect-a-thon kind of game. Really weird departure for that series, though. But yeah, the Ratchet and Clank games were also great series games. A lot of fond memories of playing that at a friend's house. It actually had, like, a lot of fun multiplayer. Like, I don't know, is that weird to praise the PvP of Ratchet and Clank? I don't remember which one it was, but I remember one of the Ratchet and Clank games actually had a kind of fun arena, like, deathmatch game mode. Jack 1 is your favorite? Yeah, that's the patrician's choice for sure. Like, it's, definitely, like, stands the test of time better than any of them. The second and third feel, like, very, very dated, and, like, such a weird shift in genre from the time. It's like, they got real edgy, you know? They got real edgy. It's the Shadow the Hedgehog syndrome. Not quite that bad, though. I mean, I loved Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid, too. I played the shit out of that game. As awful as it is. I actually really liked the branching paths to it at the time. Now I can safely say that it's not the best. But I don't know, I think the downsides of Shadow the Hedgehog are a little bit overstated. Like, it is a bad game, both thematically, and also, like, it's really janky to control. But outside of that, I don't really think the game is truly as awful as people collectively dogpile on it for. And speaking of games that are weird to talk about the multiplayer for, I actually had a ton of fun playing Shadow the Hedgehog multiplayer with my boy Austin. We did that shit all the goddamn time. I will never accept that Shadow the Hedgehog is a bad game because of the countless hours of entertainment the battle mode gave me. 3 and Deadlocked had PvP. I think it was 3 that we played. You kind of think it was a waste of development time in that area, but they can be pretty fun for like half an hour. Dude, as a kid, I played the shit out of that. I can definitely understand the point of it being wasted development time, but I don't know, what else are they doing? I feel like it's more the kind of... I mean, it would be a sad story if it's the kind of thing where, like, the head of development forced them to do it when none of the team wanted to. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe I could see it going that way. I feel like the team themselves would have fun making something like that, though. Because anything that you can make multiplayer always makes development more fun. So I feel like the team probably had fun making it. But who knows? Maybe they just wanted to finish the game and had to deal with this multiplayer shit. You also had Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid. Some of the hero missions really annoy you, but it's fun to go through, like, twice. Yeah, I don't think I actually, like, did many of the paths in it, because, like, as a kid, for the longest time, I didn't know Google. Like, I just didn't know. He didn't know. I mean, to be fair, when I first started playing games, like, just the internet as a whole was not super popping off. We didn't really have, like... In fact, I think for the majority of my childhood, we did not have a computer connected to the internet. At least not one that I used. I think my dad might have, but... Like, the family computer that we used was like, a real old piece of shit. That I don't believe had any internet. Holy shit, that was so close. So, when I just didn't know what to do in a game, that was it. Like, I could not play that game anymore. One of my most memorable moments of that was really liking Tide the Tasmanian Tiger as a kid. But I just couldn't finish it because there was a shark boss. I'm not sure if this is Tide 1. I might be talking about Tide 2 here. But whatever the case is, one of the Thai games had a shark boss in it. No, it's definitely Thai 1. Anyways, I did not fucking have any clue how to kill that shark boss. And still today, I think the answer is a little bit, like, obtuse. Oh, fuck. Like, it's obvious to, like, an adult. Like, you could figure it out, but... yeah, as a kid, I just didn't understand what to do with that boss fight. A more fun story was Sonic 06. Oh, God. You had a game-breaking glitch 4 hours in that made you delete your save and restart it. Wow, dude. And you really love Sonic 06. You're a trooper, that's for sure. God damn, that was like 1 frame away from me dying. There aren't too many people who will defend Sonic 06. I hate this. I hate this, actually. Like, really, really hate this. Okay, there is a safe spot at the end. I'm glad I thought ahead. Alright. I hate this. Why didn't I just do the fast jump? I thought the platform went down further. Is my only excuse there. Fuck. Okay. You won't defend it, but you do love it. That's fair. That's fair. Oh, God. Okay. Ah! Fucking losing it here. The load times are objectively trash. Yeah, I never played it, so... I can't really speak for that, but, like, the small amount I have seen is usually edited YouTube content that, kind of masks the loading times a bit. So I wouldn't know. Oh, I see what I'm supposed to do here. That's a cool screen. I actually like this. I don't think I trust myself to make it at that distance. I think I have to go the full way down. I've never experienced more horseshit than that in my life. Are you fucking kidding me? It screen transitioned me and got rid of the platform? I'm so mad. I think that's where I stop for today. Oh my fucking god, dude. Okay. I liked that screen until I saw that happen. I actually did like that screen. Oh well. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of the space game, because I kept saying I was gonna play it 2 days in a row now.